Hello, friends. I'm here with our stellar sailors. This is Shipbreakers, Stars That Numbers Revised, episode 18, I think. Who knows? Am I keeping track? God, who fucking knows anymore? That's our one F-bomb if we want to keep our R rating in the United States of America. Welcome. We're all hanging by a thread here, except maybe Dunamis. We're all really just trying to get by. What a great holiday today. Let me just say that. I was more or less raised in the South. I hadn't heard of Juneteenth as a holiday until about 2 years ago. This is the first year I think I've ever seen it regularly celebrated, but you know what? It feels like a good reason to go outside and grill, even though it's a bazillion degrees outside. So,
hell yeah.
You know, you grill on July 4th, so why not?
Juneteenth.
June 19th, the celebration of the emancipation of slaves in America after the dissolution of Confederacy. See,
okay.
It's not recognized in all 50 states yet. It's only recognized in about 30 of them. So it's not I think it's not a federal holiday, even though it's state holidays in several locations, including and starting in Texas.
It is a federal holiday officially.
It is a federal holiday officially? Yeah. Okay.
I think this year's the first year it is.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Explain why the banks are closed. But it's not recognized in every state. And if you want to know how states can fuck around with holidays, look up Lee Jackson King Day. It'll blow your socks off. But you should definitely do that after this video because your blood pressure will skyrocket. Hey, we're here. We've got the crew of the LAS Golden Goose. We got Ludemann as Quentin Alexander Polk IV. Dunamis is Vandorn, Van-Vee, Vantis, who's also a man who fights bears and loses. And we've got KainDamael as MINERVA, a true AI. Friends, let's talk goals. For me, my goal is to retire and live as long a life as possible. If we can get to the point where we can upload our memories into sort of cyberspace, I would be concerned because at some point my meat body would still die and those sets of memories. But that really brings into a question I've tried to bring up in the show, which is, what is human? Oh, sorry. I meant player goals, by the way. Not just my personal goal to live forever.
I think I know there's one person in the audience who's now thinking this sounds very 40k Emperor shit-ish.
We have a crew goal to get Van-Vee in a hyperboat race. Yeah. I think that goal would be very difficult to accomplish if you are going the wrong direction away from the hyperboat race circuit. Although, if you can sell me on trying to find a hyperboat race in like the farm leagues on individual planets, I'll say yes.
And then we show up in this tiny little thing that has no safety regulations and blows the doors off a farm league.
Listen.
Oh, man.
You rolled like a 15 or something ridiculous, right? Like it was beyond the number that they stopped counting at in the book.
Nice. That's what I like to hear.
But it would probably help to get you into a sword race if you already had some other races under your belt.
That's true. I'm down with that goal to see. I think Zana has a couple relatively high-tech planets, if I'm remembering correctly. There's a possibility.
Zana has
TL4.
A TL4 plus planet out.
Oh, and a TL4 plus. Yeah.
Ooh. So maybe
But do they have water?
See if we can get some races there.
It has a breathable mix atmosphere, so I assume that it does in fact have liquid water.
Nice.
And Ashilpa Era is TL4 and also has a human mystical breathable biosphere. Both of them are also warm or temperate. So yeah, it would not be weird for either of these planets to host a boat race.
It is interesting that I like that.
Let's do that.
Has fewer than 1 million inhabitants for TL4 plus. Seems a little odd.
It's got some real whack ass shit going on there. Can't wait for you to get there.
I can't wait for us to go there.
We go. There's another place.
I can't wait for us to go there and not interact at all. Not read the newspaper, not talk to anyone. Just
I see you've listened to me before. Yes. That said, I will need any short or long-term goals from each of you. For the audience's sake, it should also be noted that we are not doing a faction turn yet because they have only just set up their faction. I believe it is now April 15th is the day we're starting on. Oh, no, April 27th.
27th?
Yes. My last note was that it was March 27th, and then you started the month-long process. So we are now at April 27th.
Awesome. I think my short-term goal is to solve the riddle that we have received about Zana.
The riddle of Zana. It's like the riddle of steel, a riddle that famously goes unsolved.
Have dreams.
I'd like to propose a crew goal to modify our ship in some way or form.
Well, the crew goal is get Van-Vee in a hyperboat race.
We still want to do that even in... Okay.
That can be your goal.
I like the idea. Do you want to make that your personal goal?
Yeah.
Your current personal goal is convince the crew to go to Scarfy.
I'm just thinking, so before we started, I was like, I should really interact with my family back on Midapile. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, right now, my personal goal is to kind of ignore them, but at least I'm going after my mom. And I'm going to change that even away to just be nothing family related at all.
Well, see, now modifying the ship to go faster gets you back to Midapile quicker to be able to see your family, and then potentially back to finding your mom faster.
Wow. I feel like you're a lawyer in waiting.
It's just efficiency, logistics here.
I feel like I've had Scarfy for 2 sessions in a row, and it's been a stretch. Yeah, I think I want to do modify ship. Although Van-Vee specifically wants the smuggler holds.
Okay, modify the ship.
Modify Golden Goose.
Kain.
Minerva wants to experience a vacation.
Experience a vacation.
Ooh.
How interesting, given the events that I've told you will immediately proceed.
I know, really.
Yeah. I think it was sort of an interesting idea because Minerva has never really taken personal time quite like that.
I'm guessing we're going to split the party now. Perfect.
The first thing that happens in this episode is the bottom left-hand corner ticks over to April 27th, 0200 a.m. standard time, which of course is, not related to any planets. It's just the best estimate of how clocks work in space. An agreement between space stations and ships. So while it may be called 2 a.m. for all of you, it could be lunch. Who knows? Quentin, you receive a request for the ship to remain in dock here at the Colonel for 3 days, as Iono Kanto would like to fly on down to the planet In. She's going to take a fast shuttle. So 1 day down, 1 day back. She promises she'll be working on ship's stuff on the shuttle down and back. And then she'll have a 1 day vacation on the planet In. She wants to go see Minstrel, the artificial intelligence. And she also wants to go to something called Capybara Cabana.
Capybara Cabana. Quentin would first off look up what that is, and then check, send a note back saying, yeah, no problem at all.
Okay, so Capybara Cabana is a really popular, it's like a de-evolution of reality TV programming. It's more like Twitch shows where you watch animals. You know what I'm talking about? But without the part where you donate, because it's not in real time, because the program is shipped all across the sector. It's basically like a capybara preservation. It's the largest one outside of Lida. The more you look into Capybara Cabana, it looks like they get their capybaras from your uncle, I think, right?
Oh.
Your uncle is the one that runs the capybara.
That is correct.
Yes, so they get maybe it's not your uncle. Is your grandfather? Am I crazy here? Yeah, it's your grandfather, right. Albrecht.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, so they get Albrecht's Capimax stable. They get capybaras from him of the highest quality and then display them here. And then people come here to the Planet Inn to buy the capybaras because travel to Lida makes people uncomfortable. It's very distant. Inn is in a system that's basically the center of commerce and government. You won't be around psychics who have no legal repercussions for reading your thoughts all the time. You know, so it's like really popular. It's like Meerkat Manor. You know, they get a David Attenborough guy to just do the voiceover and follow the lives of the capybaras. Capybaras just kind of roll around in water and mud and just look cute and bounce oranges on their head. It's currently in its like 86th season. So it broadcasts 4 seasons a year. This is going on for quite some time. And yeah, she's just, Iona wants to go see Minstrel's show and then also go visit the set of Capybara Cabana.
Well, that's interesting for sure. So yeah, I mean, like I said, Quentin does send the note over. He looks that up, finds that information out, and then is kind of intrigued. He shoots a note back to Iona saying, "Would you mind if I tag along?"
Yeah, she says that there's spot on the shuttle. She used her giant pile of money to buy a private shuttle down. So she just invites you to take one of the other 6 passenger slots on the shuttle down to the planet.
Quentin would let the rest of the crew know that that's happening as well. So shoots a message to Minerva and Van-Vee, lets them know that this thing is occurring. He's also intrigued by Minstrel. I mean, this is another true AI.
One of the 5.
We have the chance to meet.
One of the 5.
You know Minerva's going. AI. She's just buying her time.
Minerva is not going to invite itself. It doesn't know how all that works.
But it sounds like the captain is inviting you.
Is the captain? Is this a notification or an invitation?
How would Quentin phrase it? This is kind of like the open invitation, but this might be like a subtle human sort of the way he words it might actually be difficult for Minerva to pick up that it's like he's letting you know because obviously you would be invited to come because he's letting you know. Otherwise he wouldn't let you know.
Oh, yeah. Okay, then Minerva's totally going to drop that. I have no idea.
I think that if word gets around to Iona that you're notifying people, she hastily invites everyone formally to join her on the shuttle down to the planet. What you do there is your own business.
Yeah. Iona's definitely got more tact.
So, Dr. Fish stays behind. She is still getting settled in and studying the medical processes of the modern age and really is just fiddling with the autodoc. Like what she knows of the autodoc is you dunk somebody in it, you press a button and it tells you things. And it is somewhat more sophisticated if you are a medical professional. And she is learning those and doesn't want to be away from, her learning experience. Yeah, also, you get the idea that she's not very excited by capybaras. She's just not a capybara person,
Yeah.
I'd point out, I don't think we've had a single Louis fish interaction yet.
That's interesting. Yeah,
not an accident.
Louis must be specifically, avoiding her on purpose. mean, Quentin would try to take Louis if that's allowed. Interact with these other capybaras, give him the chance to socialize. They're very social animals.
If it was a public shuttle, no chance. But because this is a private shuttle rented at the expense, yes, absolutely, they'll take Louis down.
For sure. And Quentin would recommend to Dr. Fish a shop that maybe he probably found on the station that does sell like paper books, things that she might be like more used to from that perspective for reference, because that's something that he was more used to.
She's actually pretty excited by the concept of keeping the entirety of all human knowledge in a small plastic box. Yeah, she loves it. Yeah, she'll check the Colonel Komarov station for paper books, but yeah, she's mostly just downloading stuff. Her quarters are incredibly bare, though, given that she left with like her stethoscope and what she could carry in her hands from her office, which included very little personal effects and no clothes. So I feel like maybe she's bought some new clothes, because otherwise she'd be going and smoking flame.
Well, that's what I mean. I feel like that was Quentin's subtle hint to be like, hey, you need to get off the ship. And go shopping, go browse some stores.
She will remain with the ship, but she will also go shopping. She has $800,000. So, Van-Vee, are you going down to the planet?
Before I answer that, how long would it take to do like any type of improvement on the ship? Like way more than 3 days?
I think about 3 days.
I'm staying on the ship.
Okay. Minerva, you have officially received both notification and invitation.
I think Minerva would check in with Van-Vee and see if Van-Vee would be okay with Minerva going dark on the ship for a couple days.
I mean, the AI, you can split yourself, right?
I can. Yeah. I'm asking Van-Vee if he'd be okay if I don't.
Ah, interesting.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Vacation.
Trying to live up to the spirit of what it believes to be a vacation and not do work at the same time.
I think Van-Vee would honestly be confused. It'd be like, "What? I don't understand. What do you mean you won't be on the ship? You're always on the ship, even if you're not physically on the ship. I mean, I just yell upwards and I know you're listening. What do you mean?"
A vacation is a period of time where you don't work, correct?
But are you capable of turning? And I don't mean physically turning that off, but like I don't know. You don't seem like the type that can just let things go and turn off like that. I mean, hey, if you can, by all means, I'd welcome the opportunity. I won't do anything to the ship, but I'm impressed that you would attempt this.
I want to experience more and learn more. Maybe it'll help me understand things better.
Perhaps.
But I wanted to check and make sure that it wasn't going to cause you any difficulties if I tried this.
Not unless I screw something up royally in the repairs. I think we should be all right. But maybe you mean the captain should have some sort of like emergency communication frequency, because I think we're just used to always, hey Minerva, working. So we need a backup plan in this case.
I can set up a program that you can execute that will send a transmission to me, and I can reconnect to the ship if an emergency occurs or if you need some help.
I think we're good. I really hope you enjoy yourself. And keep an eye on the captain. He tends to get in trouble in these situations.
Really? Okay. I'll try to do so in a way that is not unfun.
At this moment, Van-Vee realizes, shoot, she took him literally.
Well, good luck with your upgrades.
Yeah. I mean, just so you sort of no surprises when you get back. I mean, the two I'm looking at are either going to be, the smuggling holds, which I know our crew in general, we don't like hiding things, but they've come up more times than I think we can count that they'd be useful. And then, and then this drill velocity upgrade to give us a little more freedom of movement on our ship.
We are fairly slow.
Well,
it would be nice to go a little faster.
You're used to, yeah. Out of the two, do you have a preference? Which one you'd rather have first?
Well, I'm sure the rest of you will have uses for the smuggling compartments. I don't envision myself having any use for them. I think the engine upgrade will be useful for us all the time.
Got it. 1 vote for drill upgrade.
Oh, good luck with your upgrades.
Enjoy yourself.
And with that, I will end my split processing. I will be solely in the armature.
That's
insane.
Yeah.
Well,
MINERVA is will definitely show signs of not being entirely comfortable, but is going to make the go of trying it out.
Okay. MINERVA, Quentin, and Iono taking a fast train down to the planet. Quentin, about 2 hours into your flight, you get a message from Harlan Fulcrum.
Okay. Sent.
I don't know if you want to open it. You look like
Have
maybe
I gotten it?
Yeah, yes, like I said, you receive a message from Harlan Fulcrum.
Yeah, I would like to open it for sure.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I thought you had sent me something in Discord.
No. I'm about to
looking
tell
for.
you what the message is. So, it's a man with a very tall face, wearing a sort of nice business suit, and by nice I mean it's probably not off the rack. It definitely appears tailored. He's got this sort of shaved head along here with the cyber wave of hair over here. He definitely looks like a cyberpunk corpo for sure, like walking the line between the future of the 80s and the future of being a suit. He says, "Hello, my name's Harlan Fulcrum. I'm the operations officer here at Mix Multimedia and Echelon Corporation. I'm afraid our local technology isn't good enough to establish a live connection, so I'm sending you this video message. I received news from one of my staff that one of your staff will be visiting our facility, Capybara Cabana. And I wanted to just invite you down to the planet, Ambassador, to just, we work with your family according to my records here, and we'd love for you to be the first person from your family to tour our facility and see what you get out of our partnership with you. We are willing to extend to you the black level treatment all the way down. Just message me. I'm Chief Operations Officer Harlan Fulcrum. You've obviously got my number from this message. Hope to hear back from you soon. Thank you so much for visiting us, Ambassador." Beep.
Quentin would respond back with a quick note of his ETA, essentially.
Okay. All right. He sends you an itinerary that essentially is like your full 24 hours of vacation time. His staff has planned it for you, and it doesn't include any time to go see Minstrel. It's like,
oh no,
it's not just Capybara Cabana. It's like meet with the board, meet with CEOs, do an investor meeting, go to the other shows that Mix Multimedia performs. All behind the scenes stuff, fully catered. It has times for you to stop and like snack and stuff. But all of it has like line item veto. Like they have it all planned for you. And if you aren't interested in it, they will pull it from your media tour.
Yeah, and that's Quentin starts going through and ticking a few boxes, figuring out when the minstrel show is, building in some time in and around there. Also building in like some time with meals to make sure that he can, at least check in with MINERVA.
So Minstrel has a show whenever they feel like it.
Right. Okay. Oh, interesting.
So just as like a recap, Minstrel runs data and analyzes people coming into the system. He analyzes people who are on planet, people who are transiting. He determines how one song or like one poem or play might change someone's life for the better. Like help get one person past a traumatic incident, or if he determines like a group of people traveling together could be made better if they recognize something about themselves. He makes incredibly specific. Now, he broadcasts them publicly, and hundreds to thousands of people show up for them, but they are not meant for the general public. They're usually meant for one person, and they happen whenever Minstrel feels like it.
I see. So there's really like no public performance aspect to this. This is just like you show up and hope.
Right. So the thing is, Minstrel does what they can in order to make sure that their message is heard by their target. But for privacy's sake, they don't mention your name anywhere in the story or the song or the play. They just try to make sure, using connections, that it somehow ends up in front of your eyes in the way that will be necessary to change your life for the better or help you get over something in your past, something like that. Analysts have like tried to go over it. It takes them years to determine what he comes up with in like seconds. Like, he's an AI that's working at such an incredible level of data processing that he essentially has a form of very limited future sight for predicting how to do things.
Yeah. So keeping that in mind, Quentin just sort of takes his hand off that wheel and doesn't worry about it. And,
I mean, they happen regularly and they are broadcast. So like someone, you know, like you'll be able to just be like, my Instagram account, Minstrel just went live. You know what I mean? Like that sort of thing.
Yeah. So he will look at the itinerary and essentially pick out the ones that seem maybe the most socially interesting, and then otherwise maybe like the actual tour of the Capybara Cabana.
What kind of TV shows are you interested in?
Oh gosh, so they cover any genre, huh?
I mean, mixed multimedia covers a lot of genres.
Yeah.
One of its most popular shows is called The Hero of Vandorn. It's based on a 4-part graphic novel that was followed up with like a short series called Schmal. Collectively, it's been incredibly popular as like sort of not villainous, but like twisted mentor who's a dog of the state, who is changed by his mentoree as that mentoree has become like a celebrated hero of democracy and is like breaking away from an evil federative state that controls his home planet. And yeah, the writer, compelling. Incredibly popular. You know, the series was just well received as a comic book graphic novel, and then it made its way as like a short TV series. And now they're like making it into a movie. I'm just gonna be honest with you. So, all of the Solaris Knights references in this series you've avoided so far all originate from this planet. Mixed multimedia does it all. You might remember the show started with a bunch of Solaris Knights references, and then you guys ignored any form of eating any place off your ship, looking up the news, enjoying
all
things
pop culture of the universe.
So I'm yanking you down to the surface of the fucking planet to enjoy the damn
particular
world.
Show for sure, because that just speaks to him. Something in his soul, some sort of echo, a memory.
Someone that you used to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Several minutes later, you get a kind of exasperated and wide-eyed looking Iono Kanto who does it. She barges into your room. Like she knocks but also opens the doors like, Captain, I am so sorry. Apparently, when I said that I was on a ship with you, the people at Capybara Cabana assumed I was a member of your diplomatic staff. And you may be receiving some messages I am so sorry. I will correct this problem immediately.
What did you like charge some extra charges to the card? What's the problem?
No. They're offering me a black level VIP tour behind the scenes. They said they would try to get a hold of you for some.
They reached out already. Like they've got me running through the process. Do not worry about it. Yeah, no, my family actually works with these folks. This is. I mean, not totally
so
unexpected.
Mortified by this.
No, it's okay. Just take a breath, relax, take advantage of it. Honestly, how often do these opportunities come along? Yeah, I mean, hey, you're on vacation. Live a little.
An unknown amount of time later, Minerva, there's a knock on your quarters on the shuttle down to the planet.
I think Minerva looks over at the door for a second and goes, "Oh, right," and then gets up and like hits a button to open the door.
It is Iono. She says, "Hey, can we talk for a second?"
Of course.
She takes a seat. The cabins in here are much, much smaller than your on-ship cabins. It should be noted as well. Like these are basically like bunks. I mean,
okay.
this shuttle is like a suicide sled. It's meant to go to the planet and back up into space, and that's the only thing it's good for, is like a one-day transit. She says, I don't know how much we can say, but were you interested in meeting with Minstrel? Because of your unique condition.
There is an interest, but I wasn't sure if I was going to pursue it. I'm not really sure how I would.
Can I ask why you wouldn't want to do it? It sounds like you're interested. What's holding you back?
There's a lot that I'm not really certain of. And I think my confidence and my ability to make decisions outside of my job on the ship isn't that great. I'm not really sure if I should, as much as I think it would be interesting.
Do you think that Minstrel could detect something about you? Could it be a risk?
I think it's certainly possible. We are a little bit different, as much as I like to try not to be. I don't know how much of a risk that is or isn't. In the past, I would have thought nothing of it, but now I'm not sure. There's a lot I don't know.
What's changed?
Everything.
Okay, so just as a reminder, I think only Quentin knows that anything's going on with you.
Yeah.
I don't know that Van-Vee or any of the other members know. In fact, I don't think Fish knows you're an AI.
No, but Iono does.
Yes, Iono definitely does.
Yeah.
I mean, her boss has told her.
Right. Everything around me is so very different than how things were when I grew up. I don't know how things are supposed to be. I don't know the rules. I don't know what's safe or not. There's just so many things I don't know and don't understand.
That's surprisingly human of you.
Why?
I mean, there are no rules. Everything's always changing. 30 years ago, there's no way there would be a student exchange program between the company I work for and the principality.
And I'm so very aware that there has been so much change I haven't seen that I don't know.
I mean, you pick up a newspaper, big events are happening all the time. I heard that there's a huge convoy coming from the trade empire past Ockeril. I mean, who knows what that could do to local markets in this sector. It'll take a long time to get up here, several months, but, you know, a wave of whatever they're taking out and putting into this sector could be huge. That's just economics. I mean, look at the technology that's coming out of the Principality. They're announcing the new utility worker suits. Hundreds of miners could be replaced by one person in a suit who just needs a shuttle to drop by to pick them up. You won't need factory ships anymore.
There's a lot, that's for sure. What do you think? Do you think I should?
Look, I want to talk to you as a friend, but I'm also an employee who has a vested interest in you as a entity doing what's necessary to remain intact. I wouldn't want anything to happen to you. And as long as you remain under the radar, I realize that you may not be able to learn very much or do very much, but you're also safe, as far as I know. I think if you pop up, we're going to go from having the 5 to having the 6, and things may change for you.
I'm sure they will when that happens. I just don't know. I don't know when the smart time to do that is.
I couldn't say.
I'm trying to figure that out myself. I don't think there's ever going to be an answer as clear cut as I would like there to be, but it will happen at some point.
Okay. And just one more thing. She reaches out and puts a hand on top of your wrist and says, I think I forgot to turn my light off in my room before I left. Can you just double check that for me real quick?
Sure. And I'll reach out to the ship and turn off the light if it's on.
It's not on.
Okay. Your light's off. It's okay.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Hey, listen, if you want to talk anymore, just let me know. I do have some work I have to get back to. I just wanted to check in on you and see what you were thinking of.
Thank you.
You know, the board would like you to continue to grow.
I think as long as I know when you speak for the board and when you speak as my friend, I would like to continue speaking as friends.
I am afraid that I will always be both.
I understand.
Owe a lot to the company, and you know, this is my life and my job for a bit. This sort of school's not cheap, and you know, they pretty much raised me, so
I can certainly understand that. Maybe a little more than might be expected.
I'm not saying that you can't trust me. I just think that I'm your friend as much as I'm someone keeping an eye out for you.
I think MINERVA will take its other hand and put it on top of hers and say, I understand obligation. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to go get back to work.
Of course.
I have to double check your calculations.
Of course.
I think it'll take a quarter or so.
Well, I'm excited to see where you take them.
Okay. Van-Vee! What you doing, buddy?
Well, First, I think I look to make sure that we actually have components to do the 2 changes I was thinking of making to the ship.
I believe you have at least 2 components because you fucked up Minerva's little AI bud, little VI bud.
We have
VI.
Three total components right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. What are you thinking of doing?
I think priority would go to upgrading the drive.
Do you mean modifying the drive?
Modifying.
Yes, modifying the drive and upgrading the drive are 2 different things.
I'm going off of what was posted in the Discord.
So you're using you're using the pre-tech components to modify the drive. So upgrading the drive would require your drive being fully removed and replaced with a better one, which would also require you to lose some ship components because you can't handle a higher level drive. Like you're using pretty much all of your CPU and physical space on the ship.
Okay, then modify.
Then yes, the mod doesn't take up any additional space. It will cost you, I believe, Ludemann said it will cost you 50,000. I'll need you to make a roll on that.
All right. What kind of roll are we looking at?
It's a fixed roll, of course. I don't think that will surprise you. With intelligence. Okay. You'll get it in a reasonable amount of time.
What 2 1s? What is that?
So your drive is now treated only when you're making a jump as a drive 2, and your Starfare now allows you to treat that drive 2 as if it's a drive 3.
Yep. Excellent. Is there any additional time left, or did that take all 3 days?
I think there's plenty of time left.
Yes.
Now, I don't mean that like you only spent 8 hours on one day doing it. I think it'll take you a couple hours each day doing a different part of it. But yes, your drive is now considerably better than normal, and also it has like a weird hum in the back of your mind whenever you're around it. I mean, you just installed some pre-tech components into it. It's hard to tell what's going on there. It feels... doesn't feel bad. It just kind of feels present in your mind.
If only I didn't destroy something else earlier that could have helped with this. Okay, that's good to know. I think there's probably a moment where Van-Vee, like, he's done so much with Minerva's guidance lately that he probably doesn't realize how difficult it would be to do things the way he did beforehand, like with Dar. And so this is probably a big confidence boost for him to actually get it done by himself, just like the old-fashioned way, without basically being handed the cliff notes. I mean, everything.
You left Dar behind almost a year ago, and you've gotten considerably better at mechanics since then. You've gone from being a guy accused of burning down his own shop for insurance money to possibly one of the greatest mechanics of the modern era.
Yeah, so I guess it's just a little more like reassurance that, you know what, I am good at this stuff. It's not just I've got, possibly one of the best 6 assistants in the world helping me here.
Augmented reality. Put part here.
Yeah. The entire hologram just
send a Waldo over. You want me to just go ahead and do that real quick?
You look like you're shaking. Why don't I take that for you? Then I think, he tried to do the well, okay, before I say this, do we have space for the smuggling compartment, or do we have to remove something first?
You will need to convert cargo bay space into the smuggling compartment space.
Mm-hmm.
So for every cargo hold to smuggling compartment swap, I think it costs 25,000, and you can carry 1/10 as much stuff in it.
Yeah, 2 tons instead of 20.
Yes.
So I feel like we've talked about this on Discord a bit. I don't know if we've done it as characters in game before. So I don't know how much of it would be looking to convert, but I feel like that conversation probably happened at some point. So I guess maybe I don't know what's reasonable here. Like two.
I think 1 is a great start. 2 tons is a lot of fucking tonnage.
One's probably enough.
And guys, people who made this game are aware of differences between mass and volume, but tracking both of those simultaneously is a real pain in the ass. So
yeah,
we just do it by tonnage rather than by the physical space it occupies.
Yep. Can we talk about the size of ballistics and BattleTech for a second? No, I'm just kidding.
No. You don't need to make a roll for this. This is incredibly basic stuff. You will, however, need to spend
metric tons in this game too.
25.
Nice.
It's true.
Right,
just 25k. Yeah.
Nice. Just deduct that from the ship fund. That in the off hours, I guess, when he's not working on this, I think he would set up. He feels like, with not that it ever concerns him anyways, but with MINERVA not on the ship and no one else around except for Dr. Fish, he probably just like sets up shop in the galley and is just like working entirely there, and going back and forth to the bridge, but basically trying to be in a public space, just trying, taking up space. And he'll be opening up and reading the messages, rereading the messages from Sophie, including opening up what Zach and Allie sent in, building responses based off what those letters say.
I didn't want to get too much into the nitty gritty, but Zach's are all like, yeah, man, latest blast ball scores are out. Look at my report card. I'm doing so well, and I'm getting CPR training next week. I've really been rushing it, but I'm trying to get all the credentialing I can. And Allie's are like, when are you coming home next? A lot of talk about like the new dynamics of the family now that you've returned, and like Dad's changed. I'm worried about him, sort of deal.
I think first response would go to Allie. Be back as soon as I can. I think I've done some things that ruffled some feathers with Dad. Don't worry too much about him. I'm gonna try to fix everything. Nothing's really wrong, but I just brought up some bad history with him, and I'll try to fix it all. Tell him not to worry. Tell Mom not to worry. Be back. Be back when I can, because I really don't know a timeline of when I'll be back.
I have a question. Is this your first time referring to Sophie as Mom?
Ooh.
In the letter, it might be
his sister, at least.
Yeah, because I think last session I said it.
Yeah,
but I think it was. I don't know if I think it was just out loud to.
I was gonna say, I remember you doing that last session.
But this might be the first time any member of your family has heard you call her anything other than Sophie. Yeah. Okay. Just making a note of that.
Right, of all people to do it to Allie feels like a good idea.
It's interesting, right? Like Van-Vee's gotten a little bit more about the bio mom, and it's weird, right?
Especially after splitting, realizing who he is or what he is, and then merging with another being.
Mm-hmm. Or did you merge with another being?
Dun, dun, dun.
Vandorn never really said his feelings on Sophie, right? So maybe he calls her mom.
This is true. Or maybe he's like, you idiot, of course she's your mom.
I mean, for Vandorn, it's the Truman Show.
Yeah, exactly.
Boy.
Who knows his opinion?
So that Allie's message is a bit more serious. Zach's is, if he actually sent his test scores and stuff, I'd probably be able to tell.
Solid B+ across the board.
Actually, before responding to him, I wonder, can I find Dr. Fish?
Absolutely. Oh. Dr. Fish looks about 20 years younger.
Nice.
Yeah, like within the month that you've known her here, working on the ships, and just her last 24 hours on the station, she's catching up on like vaccinations and like dermal regenerative treatments and a pedicure, stuff like that, and whatever the TL4 future, live 20 more years. Well, she got that treatment because she's almost a millionaire.
Nice.
Yeah, she just
knock on our door gently.
Okay. Yeah, she shows up. You can see that she bought a guitar, and she's got some posters for musicals hanging up in her room. She says, "Oh, hey Van-Vee, how's it going?"
Well, wow, Dr. Fish, you look great, and you look like you're really settling in here.
Thank you.
I'm glad you feel at home here. This is good. It took Yona a while to feel comfortable around us, and it feels like you're settling right in. This is great. This makes me happy.
Yeah, I mean, if I go home, I'll be arrested and spend the rest of my life in prison. So I figured I should really just dive full in, invent a new me.
Well, I guess that's one way to look at it. Well, I'm happy you're happy either way.
There's like a saccharine grimness to her. Like, she is happy, but also she's still processing over 200 of her local citizens dead, and like, what is essentially...
I'm getting a very like MASH vibe from her.
Oh yeah, you know what? I didn't even think about it like that, but yeah. She's 100% in her MASH phase of life.
Oh,
yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, well, she's real. The only people who go to hell are the ones who are supposed to be there.
Yeah.
War, everybody affects. Yep, that's her right now, 100%.
Well, I was wondering. I've got this brother that he's back on Midapile, and when we saw him last, we mentioned to him, to start looking into the medical profession, because we didn't have anyone on our ship, and I can't tell if he's going down the right path. And frankly, you're here now, but I'm not trying to say we're trying to place you or nothing. I'm more asking, how did you get started? What tips can I give him, perhaps from someone as experienced as yourself, to get his feet wet? Because now, he's taking CPR, and just that doesn't feel like that is nearly enough.
I mean, CPR is effective in something like 14% of cases. People who would be dead, about 14% of them live, often with severe chest injuries. But, let me ask you, if you had a 14% chance to be alive after something bad happened to you, would you take it, or would you simply just die?
Well, okay. I mean, of course I would take it.
Sounds like a pretty useful skill, right?
No, I just meant it feels like the tip. It's like the tip of the iceberg, and I was hoping he'd be a little more immersed by now. I'm just trying to figure out how can I guide him down this path.
How old is your brother?
Did I specify an age?
I think we've agreed that he's in high school.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Okay, so she's just like, it's extremely admirable for a youth of his age to be reaching out and getting involved in the medical profession. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here, given that I've done some research into you, and, Vostro's a pretty big name in construction. I'm going to assume that your family's got enough money to send him to a really good school. Would that be correct?
The money's there, but I don't think the money would be the problem in sending him to the school.
What is the problem?
It might be my father's approval.
Is there a mother in this picture?
Well, yeah, of course, but...
I wouldn't say, of course. I mean, families don't always stay together.
Fair. I just... it's a sensitive subject about my family. Well, I'm not sure either one of them would be thrilled at the idea of him following in my footsteps and joining our crew and doing some of our daring adventures, but it is a future, and he seems excited about it, and I'm trying to figure out how to keep him happy and do the right thing for him as a brother, but also, I guess, protect him at the same time.
She moves into her room and sits down in a chair and gestures for you to sit across from her.
Oh, boy. All right.
Young man, I want you to look at me.
Uh-huh.
You think you're some sort of gallivanting rich kid. That's what I'm picking up on.
Well, it seems a little bit harsh, but I mean, I fly by the seat of my pants, I suppose.
Not every member of your crew responded to the situation we all found ourselves in back in Fishton. Well,
I think he borderline. He's getting ready to stand up at that.
Particularly MINERVA had some issues. Quentin, I think, jumped into it. And you also did what had to be done. And I need you to be aware that I can't tell you how many of 800 people, how many of them whose lives were saved. And I can't tell you how many people who were in the most abject misery of their lives that you saved in perhaps another fashion. But this ship, what your team did, what my team did, the auto doctor, it made a difference. We could have done a lot at our hospital, but not nearly as much as we could with the auto doc, and not nearly as much as we did with your crew's contribution, with the drugs that we got. You may think that you are out here gallivanting around. I can't say. I've not known you for very long. But do not undersell that when it counted, I asked you to do something and you did it. And it probably made lives easier.
Probably one of the first times Van-Vee's kind of now being forced to self-reflect and really not think about himself and kind of what he's always done. So he probably gets a little bit of sense of pride, can't help but smile, and just kind of says, you know, I think I really needed to hear that.
Well, good. Then let me tell you this. If your brother wants to do something, do you really want to stand in the way of that?
Well, heck no. I want to help him. It
seems like you're out here doing what you want.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Is he going to make mistakes? Well, let me ask you, have you made mistakes out here?
Oh, God, yeah. Heck, and he's almost says if I wasn't, in his mind, he's like, if I wasn't here with the psychic and the AI, I don't know if I'd still be here. But instead, it's just like, if I didn't have my crew supporting me, heck, I don't know if I'd still be here.
Well, when I was administrator of a hospital for many decades, it was about cutting costs, but it was also about having the staff's back. And I'm guessing in a small tin can with 6 people inside of it, one of it a giant rodent, somebody's got to have everybody's back. Maybe everybody has to have everybody else's back to make this work. So, sometimes when people make mistakes, you have to cover for them. You have to let people make mistakes sometimes. Now, that's just a lifetime of experience talking. And what do I know? I'm a small town gal. You flying around in your big city spaceship for your whole life. That's some pretty decent schooling, I'm guessing. But I do know a thing or two about people.
Yeah, I mean, at Tech, you just analyzed my whole life to a T.
Sure. Well, you look like you're about ready to jump out of that seat for the last 5 minutes, so I'm going to let you go, other than worry that you're going to tap your legs so hard you break the floor bolting.
Oh, I could fix that. But honestly, I was getting ready to leave, and it's because I thought you were about to bring up how I didn't do enough back on your home planet, how I couldn't do what needed to be done, and it had to do a second or a third job instead. But you surprised me. You know, I appreciate that. Appreciate you didn't bring me back down that path, because that wasn't easy.
Listen, some people freeze. And that's fine. That's very human. You have to move at some point. Because if you just choose to stay still, in a situation like that, people die. Freezing is normal. I want to be really clear on that. It's a traumatic situation, and maybe it's your first time encountering something like that. I mean, the sky was literally raining fire on top of all of the other bad things happening. You just have to move at some point, I guess. And at this point, you think that maybe she's not talking to you. Maybe she's talking to her.
I think Van-Vee will simply just say, well, you're right. It was the first time for me in more ways than one, because that was the first time Vandorn stopped Van-Vee from doing something.
I don't know what that means.
Well, of course, I don't say that out loud.
Okay. I feel like that's a good place to go to commercial break. Whoa! We'll be back for the second half in about 5 minutes.
Love that.
Well, is that where we want to go first? Is Capybara Town?
I mean, wherever you want to take us.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's where we find ourselves. Is day 2 of vacation. The sun is rising. We could see like this orange globe rising over a sort of Serengeti background, and we hear someone do the survivor yell from when they transition scenes in Survivor where it's like, oh yeah. First we see one little nose appear, and then like 14, and then there's just like the camera pans down and there's tons of capybaras everywhere. Little regular capybaras, Cappy Maxes, some like big chunky boys. And then in like a holographically projected, so like you can see through it and the capybaras can't see back. It is very Truman Show insofar as like the capybaras don't know that you're dozens of feet away, just a control room of people watching them. And we could see that Jurassic Park style handlers are heading out there to start feeding the capybaras and like taking them around for walks and making sure that they're all like have enough material for their bedding, the water is the right temperature and isn't like filled with filth or anything like that. And I think it's you and MINERVA. Are you coming to Capybara Cabana?
MINERVA's plan was to step off the shuttle and pick a random direction and just walk into humanity.
Very well. We'll come back to you in a minute. Then it is Quentin and a very excited. She has a fanny pack for sure. She's got the we can't say it because a certain corporation will destroy us. But she's got 2 capybara ears that are suspiciously circular on her visor that says Capybara Cabana. She's got a Capybara Cabana shirt, like a t-shirt, but she's still wearing the juicy shorts for some reason.
That's vacation for her.
She's taking pictures everywhere, even though someone nearby is just like, ma'am, you can't take pictures back here. And she's using one hand to take the pictures and the other is to hold up a like black VIP, black level pass VIP identification card. Like Harlan is here with you, Harlan Fulcrum, and he's just like, thank you so much for joining us, Ambassador. As you can see here, our stock is incredibly strong. They are healthy. They are having the time of their lives, and ratings could not be higher.
Was Louis allowed to come with us?
Yeah. I mean, if you want, Louis is in the control room.
I would love him to be in the control room.
Like Louis is a little minor celebrity. There's like script assistants who are just like getting down and like taking selfies with Louis. There's a boom mic guy who like can't figure out whether he should be doing his job or hanging out with Louis. Louis is like a really popular celebrity. Of course, you've raised Louis using the correct pelleting so that he has a weird color scheme compared to normal So Louis like a real rebel who kind of stands out with the more natural colorings of the capybara cabana.
Okay. Yeah, and Quentin responds to Harlan just, enthusiastic, saying, "No, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to tour the facility. This is definitely, impressive, and getting to be around capybara and this number again is, makes me feel like home. So this is a nice treat for me. Would you mind if we actually took a tour of the grounds with Louis and Yono here? Could we?
Oh, with
actually
Louis,
get out there?
I think that we would have to talk to medical first. I don't know if he has the sort of tailored antigens. In fact, why don't we just get all of you your antigen shots before we head out there? I would hate for you to get sick or give anything to the local stock.
Oh,
can we get medical in here? TA? And you know, like, no one's doing anything, and he just like walks over to the boom mic operator and just like pulls his boom down and goes, "Can we get medical in here?" And the boom mic operator's like, okay. And like people stop taking selfies with Louis and start doing their job. So just be clear, tailored antigens are an item that you can buy. It starts with that numbers that prevent you from getting local allergies. Essentially, they don't make you go through quarantine to come down to planets because it would be a huge hassle constantly to do that. Especially not such a popular planet in such a economic system such as this. But these people have a really, really good reason to not let 3 random strangers, including a domesticated animal, wander around with their precious, like they're gonna make sure you guys get shots. So that you don't get everybody
completely
sick
reasonable.
First. Yeah.
Completely reasonable. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so you guys all get your tailored antigen shots for this planet, for the planet in. Louis kind of sidesteps it for a second, like afterwards, like you can tell his shoulder hurts. And then Harlan's like, "I'm so sorry. You have to understand, it's an insurance thing. I'm not trying to be mean or grumpy or anything. You guys are very popular, very, very popular."
And Quentin rubs Louis. It's okay, buddy.
Yeah, so he indicates whether you'd like to take a Jurassic Park style electric golf cart ride or whether you just want to walk among the capybaras.
I'd rather just kind of stroll about if you don't mind. For me, this is a big part. Louis, it's been a while since he's gotten to socialize, so this will be a great opportunity for him.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you what he's doing so that you understand that he is trying to get you and Iono to sign documentation to allow to sign away to waive your rights to privacy insofar as they want your visit to be a part of the show, but they also don't want to pay you for your likeness.
Oh, yeah.
So he's not like, "Hey, sign this." I don't know how he'd do it because I'm not a slimy, cheap operations officer for Mixed Multimedia.
Totally.
But he will approach you in the most polite and corporate way possible to get you to look over some documents, and maybe before you go in, if you could just check this real quick. Right here, check this box.
Yeah, I mean, Quentin would read it over. I don't know that he'd try to like negotiate anything specific, but as long as it wasn't like perpetual use of likeness type of thing.
No, they want you to be in the next episode of Capybara Cabana, essentially.
Right. Yeah, I mean, using this footage for this particular episode, as long as it's limited scope, Quentin would be okay with it.
All right. So you have a full film crew following you as stealthily as possible. Like, there is a drone satellite in the air following you. There's also several camera drones out of visual sight and out of sound, but like you were in the control room, that they're zooming over the area constantly.
Right.
There's cameras all over the place inside the Capybara Cabana. There is physically a crew surreptitiously traveling behind you in a second cart.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to pretend like they're the
just
water
swarming.
guys. Yeah.
Quentin's going to do his best to ignore it, of course. He's also going to be kind of, trying to help Iono interact with them as much as possible, right? Like, use his time on the farm to sort of entice them over. See how Louis responds to getting to interact with these new ones. Just experience.
I'm going to need you to make 2 rolls, and one of them will be on behalf of Louis.
Ooh, oh, excellent.
Let's start with that. I just need you to roll a luck check.
Luck check. Okay.
Yep.
What do I roll here for this? 2d6?
Nope. It's just a d20.
Oh, okay.
You want a 11 or higher. You rolled a 1. It is heartbreaking.
Oh.
The capybaras move away from Louis. They don't recognize Louis as one of the pack. His unusual colorations make them believe that he might be a sort of predator or a mutation. And so Louis is an empath. And so Louis senses where he's not wanted. And so he quietly plods off to the second part where the film crew are sort of consoling him, kind of surprised at his level of intelligence. I would like you to make a connect charisma roll with the animals.
Okay.
I want Minerva to rewind time to fix that.
I'm not
Minerva's
connected.
not here.
Yeah.
An 8.
That's such a bummer.
They like you.
Okay.
You and Iono both find yourselves. It's not like you're overrun. They seem pretty. I don't want to say they seem trained. They just seem like they form like a greeting line to some extent, where they approach you and like each one will say its hellos and try to get a treat from you, and then after an appropriate amount of time leave and let the next one come up. It seems like they are naturally predisposed into getting as many treats as possible while trying to act cute.
Makes sense.
You made a lot of capybaras. A lot of capybaras. You're actually coming to the conclusion that the capybara cabana has more capybaras than your family's capybara farm.
Okay. Can I use notice to just sort of look around and see how many of these actually look like they're just straight up from the family farm? How many of these are local grown? Or
the ones from Lita are physically larger than even
they're all the CopyMaxes, basically. Like,
I mean, even among CopyMaxes, lead-in homegrowns are considerably, like, their muscle mass is 10 to 25% bigger. I mean, they make them big in Space Texas. Yeah.
Like, Quentin will take this a little bit seriously. He does actually, like, understand that, he is the first of his family to actually be here directly. He very much so respects his grandfather Albrecht and wants to, represent it well as far as that goes. So he will try to make sure that they're being well taken care of and at least make sure of that, right?
So I want you to imagine a screen of like you leaning down, your head is patting the head of a CopyMax. You've got some like kibble in your hand that you're feeding it, and David Attenborough is going, "This man is Quentin Alexander Polk IV. His family has helped raise CopyMaxes for many years." That sort of thing, right? Like, there's just different cuts of like you interacting positively with the Cappy. All right, so just so you're aware, when this airs in 3 to 6 months, you are going to be an even bigger celebrity than you already are. In the same way that when Meerkat Manor was broadcasting, not everyone in America watched it, but people who watched a lot of fucking television. Oh shit! I just said fuck. We lost our R rating.
You're gonna have to edit it. Bust out the bleeps.
I actually said it 3 times. Yeah. Other than that, it doesn't seem like there's a lot going on here, except that Harlan desperately wants you to attend a board meeting that you appear to have no, focus on going. He's also trying to get you to buy in as an investor in the company and talk about expansion and, more like they have a contractual buy every year of a number of capybaras and they'd like to up that number. He doesn't appear to understand that you don't work for your grandfather.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and that's why Quentin's specifically avoiding the boardroom. He's not trying to actually like misrepresent and, you know, promise something that he can't actually deliver on. That's for sure. So he's going to take the perks and provide the social environment. He feels like he's provided some value already. Look, content for them. So he will continue treat this essentially like the vacation it is.
MINERVA. There is a surprising amount of electronic surveillance on the planet In. Sure, it's a TL for planet, and sure, it does have a giant gas mine. So like the nearest planet is a gas giant, and so people basically shuttle over for like a 6-day shift and then shuttle back. Sort of deal. So that's like a big thing around here. It has local space stations above it. People here love aliens, and it's like a sort of like hippie world. Like people are just kind of, let's chill out, let's relax, and also let's make sure that there's like 6 million cameras in every direction. You are walking in a random direction away from your private shuttle pad, looking to get involved with humanity. I would like you to roll a notice wisdom roll, and we'll see what happens. Oh, it's the wrong one. Okay. You just start walking, and you're immersed in so much different human life. Yes, you have known several humans. Quentin, Van-Vee, to a lesser extent, Iono. You've just met Dr. Fish. There are thousands of people who you've never met or even considered the lives of so far. You just see at least 25 different religions represented on this world, not even including Catholicism. People wear a huge variety of clothing, engaging in social customs, none of which you recognize at all. Everything here is just so strange and foreign, and it seems like it shouldn't all fit together, and yet it just does. People are just very relaxed here. Everybody's looking to have a good time.
Yeah, I think MINERVA is a little bit odd. You're just sort of overwhelmed with all this, but still also trying to experience it from a limited perspective compared to what it's used to. So there's probably a lot of awkward, like standing and watching people do something and then go somewhere else and watch another group do something. And
I think one thing that might off-put you is that the traditional greeting on In is, hey, you eat yet? You know, like if you come into a shop, instead of saying hi or hello or what's up, people say, hey, you eat yet?
Yeah, I think she doesn't even really know how to respond to that. Too. It's just like, I don't think so.
Okay. Let me ask then, what kind of mercantile place might you have visited during your random travels? I know that you have some interest in human records, like vinyls. I don't know if we want to bring that up again, but
she's specifically trying to avoid anything tech related because that seems to defeat the spirit of what she's trying to do. But she'll probably look at places that sell like vintage stuff.
What about like a disco?
Here's the thing, is that you're looking for vintage stuff. There are sub-vintage for the different cultures across the sector. Like, it's not like you go to a shop and it's like vintage. It's like, this is the vintage from In, and this is the vintage from Robinson, or sorry, from Midapile, right? Like, it would be like, yeah, I'm going to go get vintage, you know, from another state or something. I'm driving to New York and checking the shops there. Heading to Goodwill. Going to the dollar store in Maryland.
And she might, if she hears music playing somewhere, she might just step in to listen to music for a while.
Oh, there's music everywhere in this fucking planet.
Hey, she's going to just pick one and walk in and try to find somewhere to be unobtrusive and listen to music.
A huge part of music on In is improvisational. Jazz and all of its 33rd century variants are all very popular here. Just like flash mobbing or just like playing an instrument on a street corner, all exceedingly popular here. People just do it. In the same way that occasionally you'll get dueling violinists in a New York subway, that doesn't happen like once in a lifetime. That happens every day here. It's considered part of the culture here, and you just get lost in all these different. It's overwhelming. Like as soon as you understand the genre that one person's doing, someone else is doing something totally different. And throughout it all, you never notice the little drone in the sky following you. Van-Vee, what's up with you back in space? There doesn't have to be anything, by the way. I'm just checking in to see if there's anything else you wanted to do during your 3 days on the Colonel Komarov.
Well, we after finishing talking to Fish, I don't think I ever actually sent a message to Zach.
Sure.
So
I understand.
I would, just to keep it short and sweet, send an encouraging message that's saying he's doing the right thing. He's going down the right path. I'm proud of him. Can't wait to see you soon.
Okay.
And I'm trying to remember last session. I did respond to both Sophie and y'all, right?
Now, yes, we've confirmed that.
Okay. Let's leave it there then. No sense responding to them again.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. Quentin, anything else you want to do on the planet In?
Nothing specific. He's just there to take part in the festivities. He takes the tours. He enjoys the free food that they put in front of him. If he gets a wind of any, performance of minstrel, he would head that direction. That kind of thing.
I think that you and MINERVA and Iono all get a message at the same time indicating that there is a minstrel performance about to go live. And there's a huge group of people gathered around a theater in the round. Minstrel is a sort of bicentennial man AI chassis, extremely mechanical looking.
Awesome.
No hiding it. And they have a very obvious backpack that's additional data processing. And I don't mean like they're wearing a backpack, but like it's pretty clear what's standard on his chassis and what has been added later. And he begins a sort of rock opera entirely in Greek. People are losing their mind at it. He's doing the singing part and also generating the noises from within his chassis for all of the music. Someone is doing lighting. It probably is also him as well. It's a real like sort of, I don't know, like Mr. Roboto level of, it's not just a song that's like 4 minutes long. It's like a 12-minute long music video with a song in it as part of like a power ballad, all in Greek. You can see that someone in the crowd is just like openly weeping and has fallen to her knees, and Minstrel like walks forward off of the stage at the end of it and offers her a hand to help pick her up, and is speaking to her with his weird flappy jaw mechanism. Again, in Greek, and because they aren't human, it's impossible to read their lips. But the woman seems like this has been extremely emotionally overwhelming for her. People are just like dinging in, like, oh man, this is a pretty mid performance from Minstrel today. And somebody else is just like, you know what? Fuck you, man. This is one of the best performances I've seen in my life. Sure, it's not as good as some of his usual stuff, but you can't go 100% every day. And somebody else is just like, oh my God, Minstrel, I love you so much. Heart, 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 heart. Somebody else is just like, what do we need to do to get that guy in a skin suit? Just Twitch chat in general, you know. Instagram. At some point, Minerva, Minstrel turns to look at a camera, and you feel seen. I mean, there's almost no way he would know exactly what camera your broadcast is coming through. Or how could he know that you're an AI without a full medical examination? But you just feel seen through this video feed. Nearby, though, somebody's doing some like devil sticks. It's super sick. Like, I just want to come back to the fact that you're like wandering around like a quaint European, you know, shopping district, and some dude's just like doing devil sticks right next to you.
Yeah, I think whatever screen Minerva is watching, Minerva's staring back with great interest at this point. That's for such an unusual observation. Minerva's trying to is waiting to see if it continues or if something else happens.
Think they retake the stage, and Minstrel gestures broadly, very Shakespearean. If they had a cloak, there would be billowing. And they say, as you know, I am a strong supporter of the arts and of the humanities. I have long held highly out of the five my esteem for context. And I find that those who do charity work on behalf of humanity are at the highest parts of my thoughts. I see you out there, people, humans, and I am so honored to have been created by you. You truly are gods among AI. Gods among men, one might say, were I more manly. Thank you all, and I will see you at the next performance. So the feed doesn't cut, but it's pretty clear that Minstrel isn't coming back out. People are just, you know, like, announcers are coming in now, and they're just like, wow, what a performance today. Incredible. What could the hidden message be? Let's go to a panel of 3 experts on subtext.
I think there's a pause where Minerva's unnaturally still and focused before trying to resume normal behavior.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know what normal behavior looks like for you now.
Well, at least for Minerva, not being unnaturally still, but trying to have small motions all the time to...
Yeah, 1 foot was off the ground the whole time.
I think the devil sticks guy comes over to you, still juggling the devil sticks, and is just like, hey, you good? You need me to call somebody for you? He's like, he does one up in the air, and in the process, he like runs a match down it, and now like both ends are on fire, and he's still just like juggling 2 while the third one is on fire.
I don't know.
Okay.
Frankly, a little. I don't know.
I know. People can be overwhelmed. Watch this. And he just starts doing like devil stick tricks. He's just like, I know. It blows your mind, right? Incredible.
Yeah. Blew my mind. Could you show me how to do that?
Oh, yeah. It takes years of training. But yeah, actually, I have a short help book. You can go get it on the local e-commerce. It's 5 creds. If you show me your device, I'll show you how to get to it real quick. And yeah, we can head over there. They sell devil sticks just across the market. So he's like talking you while also subtly trying to get you to buy his book that's like Chaz Brightworth's, how devil sticks. What is poi and why is the mastery of it important to your life? And it's like a picture of him pointing at you, but also there's like 3 devil sticks around him.
Yeah, she'll go along with this.
Okay. Yeah. He teaches you the basics of devil sticks. I would like you to make a work dexterity check real quick to see just kind of randomly how good you are at devil sticks.
Oh my god.
Okay,
please be good.
You can write down now that you have a skill level of 1 in work ' devil sticks.
Okay.
You are amazing. A natural beginner in the art of devil stick performance.
Beautiful.
You're actually better than him.
That's insane.
Now he's not like super arrogant about it. He's just like, wow, you learned so fast. Holy smokes. Maybe you're the one true devil stick master that's spoken about in the ancient subreddits.
You are the devil stick.
Well, anything that I do now is, of course, because of your teaching. Thank you so much for your time and your instructional that I will continue to use.
Oh, incredible. Thank you so much. All right, he goes back to doing devil sticks.
He's trying to do a move you just did. He's never seen.
Yeah. How does she do that?
Like improvise a little, and she just does something. He's like, yeah, like that, I guess.
It's a 920 McNarsty, only spoken about in the ancient texts.
My God.
Could she be the one? Your left eye. Could you be the son of the Dragon King?
I think the for the rest of the day that she's got, for any time for the night, she'll go back to one of these places where they're doing their dueling musics.
Yeah.
And try to sit down with other people and ask about the musicians or the musics or
God. People
the choices.
Waited their whole life for someone like you to approach them so that they could tell you all of the local gossip. Yeah, exactly. You're so popular. I feel like you end up with like 5 people in a semicircle behind you who are all telling you their opinion of the local music.
An attractive 20-something woman essentially walking up to strangers being like, just tell me about your hobbies.
Exactly. 100%. You have gathered an army of people who love gossiping and have been waiting their whole lives for someone to ask them about minutia.
What do you do for a good time around here?
Oh my God. First off, that's Iono, but
yeah.
Quentin, what do you do after getting that broadcast?
Yeah.
I have to tell you that Iono doesn't seem impressed by it. She's not like, wow, that was totally life-changing. She's just kind of like, really speak Greek, so...
Oh, that's right. Because MINERVA committed a crime to try to learn Greek.
Yes.
Big memories of that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Quentin kind of chuckles a little bit and says, "Yeah, I certainly don't know what was said. It was beautifully done, of course."
Yeah, I agree. It's just I normally like to watch media that I can understand.
Yeah, I understand.
Helps
I mean, supposedly
there's some
as
well, but
big heartfelt message if it's meant for you anyway.
Sure. Well, not that I was hoping that Minstrel would take notice of me and compose something specific.
Oh, come on now. It's all right. We all have that little spark of hope that fate was gonna come through this day. It's all right. Everybody wanted that. I don't blame you one bit. What else did you have planned? Was there anything else you wanted to see on this planet? You know, you got your backstage pass. What else you want to do?
I'll be honest, I like a lot of the shows that come out of this company. If I can just like wander around between studios, I would absolutely do that.
I feel like you could probably make that happen. Just flash that pass.
She separates from you. So you're still scheduled to go to the Liberator Vandorn, and they're set for the movie that is the follow-up movie for the live action of the graphics novel of the comic.
Mm-hmm. Very exciting. Quentin will go experience that. If he doesn't have a comic of it, he will get one from the gift shop.
You gotta get the full 4 set. They have the author sign it in person for you.
They
call him down to the lot to get him to sign it and shake your hand. He doesn't know who you are. He's just,
thank you, sir. I appreciate this. You know, does the meet and greet thing, checks it out as much as possible. He's going to send a message to MINERVA at some point and check in. You know, how you doing? You holding up?
Now hold on. I do want to hear about this, but I also want to know if you buy the Schmau follow-up novels.
Oh yeah, I mean Quentin will get the full set. You know, he's not going to walk away without the whole shebang.
Yeah, so like the Schmau novels take place after the Liberator. The mentor of the main character of Liberator Vandorn is this sort of like colonel who's now become like the president of the planet by dint of being the highest ranked military officer. He's not even from here. He was just on planet when the liberation happened and has positioned himself as like the natural authority figure. And he's juggling. It's like,
not the resume.
I mean, so the thing is, he's the guy that originally brought the planet to heal.
Right. Yeah.
And now he's like seen as a colleague of the Liberator and the mentor of the main character of the series. And he's coming to grips with like, I'm old now, my health is failing, and I'm starting to get a conscious. Legacy? Yeah. Well, it's not even the legacy, because he definitely has a legacy as like a great military officer, but now he's starting to get a conscience, and he's like, wow, I can never make up for the bad shit that I did, but how can I do good stuff now? I don't know how to do good things. I'm going to have to rely on other people to tell me what is and isn't good, and I can't ever let anyone know that I don't know the difference between good and evil. So it's a very internal, much darker, grittier version of Liberator of Vandorn. But yeah, it's an interesting follow-up that shows the background of a different character. And then you call MINERVA.
Do you call or do you send a message?
I mean, I guess he'd send the message or call. It doesn't matter either way. Yeah. Well, what would MINERVA prefer in that scenario? I guess it's voice.
Captain, is everything okay?
Yeah, just checking in. I wanted to make sure, you know, you were all right. You kind of just took a beeline off into the crowds
while the music's playing in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, here, look at your screen for a second. Here, hold on. And then like the camera turns on. Hey, could you hold this for me for a second? And she does a little thing with the devil stick she bought.
Oh, wow. You were doing so much better than I expected. I mean,
vacations are fantastic. I should try these more often.
MINERVA's got a couple set of beads around her neck, I think, as well.
Meanwhile, Van-Vee's sweating, connecting cables in our engine.
No, I mean, hey, I just wanted to make sure you were having a good time. You weren't just kind of lost in the mix here, but it looks like you're doing great.
It's been eventful, for sure. Yeah. How about yourself?
I've gotten the lay of the land here. I got the backstage pass. It's been a lot of fun. Got to meet some capybaras. Poor Louis, he did not get the reception that I was hoping for. I'm gonna have to do some consoling there, I think. So he's scritching Louis as he says that, and maybe handing him a treat off of one of the like craft service platters at the behind the scenes, place that he's at.
I might not be very familiar with interactions between Capybara Maximus, but I'm sure it was nothing that Louis did.
No, certainly not. Certainly not. He's a sweet boy. He's a good boy. Don't you worry, buddy. No, if things are going well for you, I mean, how much time we got left? What are you getting into for the rest of the night? Maybe I'll join you for a party if there's not anything else happening.
The music here is erratic, fascinating, and there are many stories.
Perfect. Well, and if there's not anything else on Quentin's itinerary that he's already scheduled for, he would try to go join MINERVA on her adventures in Music Land. And that would be how he rounds out his vacation.
We cut to a very serious looking man in a suit. We can't see his face, only his hands. He puts a manila folder down on the table and says, "You've confirmed it. They're here." And someone says, "Yes, Agent Johnson, they're on planet." And Johnson says, "Good. Keep an eye on Mr. Vandorn. I have an interest in developing this ace into a royal flush. There have been reports of unusual increase in his skill from our people on the station. Do what we can to insert someone close to him." And the person he's talking to says, "Of course, Agent Johnson. I think that'll be very difficult. His crew are extremely mobile." "Well, see if you can turn one of them."
With that, there's probably an inset in the window there with Quentin reaching into his like a pocket in his coat or something and just kind of touching a box made of nothing.
Yes, the
that
box
is something
that you still haven't opened in a while. We cut back to everybody getting back together again on the ship, I think, unless someone had something they still wanted to do back on planet.
Good.
Ship's good and ready to go anytime.
Cap, now that you're back. Oh, and Minerva too. You guys.
Minerva's got like the bead still on and the devil sticks in hand.
It's continually going.
It smells a little bit like alcohol.
I think there's the briefest of pauses that when you guys come on board dressed as you are, smelling as you are, Van-Vee's just kind of like, "All right, no one got anything for me. All right, so I've been here working hard, and I want to show you guys the show you guys the engine room here. Look what I did. Look what I did." And like, I don't know what the physical change is to modify the engine like I did, but Van-Vee's extremely proud of this, and he's trying to show it off.
Okay. I think Iono definitely got you a series of signed posters from Capybara Cabana, for sure. As
thoughtful.
Everybody goes into the engineering bay, Quentin and Iono, both of you immediately react. The engine seems aware.
Mm-hmm.
You just have this feeling like if you walk into a room and someone is dead, or if you walk into a room and someone is asleep, there's a different feeling. The engine was dead. The engine is now asleep. It is a person in the room with you.
Did you say Quentin and Iono?
Yes.
Are where?
Iono also reacts. Does Louis react?
Yes, Louis also reacts.
Well, Captain, is vacation officially over then? Back to work?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're back on schedule. I think on to the next thing. Van-Vee, this is fantastic, though. Seriously, and he goes for like a big high five. Slaps him on the back.
Reactivate split processing and re-inhabit the ship. I'm curious to see. I'm curious to check out the engine and the work.
Yeah, so whenever
coming from the engine. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's coming from the engine. Is there anything actually like psionically active about this awareness?
No.
Okay, it's just a feeling.
Not that you're aware of. MINERVA, it's an upgraded engine, and the cargo hold has a spot that doesn't show up on sensors now. Nothing to get excited about.
Yeah.
Ouch.
The engine's the engine appears to be quite nice.
So you're all feeling this, right? Like you're all it's looking at you.
Keanu's nodding. Yeah.
Does it have a set of eyes? They're not open. What? I don't know.
I'm sorry. What are you talking about, Captain?
You don't feel something? It does feel. I don't know what the word is. It's.
Keanu is aware.
Yeah.
MINERVA takes the beads off, and I don't think I understand.
Wait, you guys feel that too? I thought that was just maybe it had to do with me and my link or something. I don't know.
I have no idea what this is. This is.
Do you?
It works though, right? Yeah, everything's green.
Diagnostics show everything is good to go. I don't understand what it is you're describing.
Iano just says they say that pre-tech could have some strange side effects, especially when you're collaging together random components to make something new.
Interesting.
I guess I would just say it has presence. I don't want to quite call it alive, but you just feel something there.
What do you mean?
Does it
by
remind Quentin of anything? Does it remind him of anything related to like the shadows or?
Doesn't feel anything like that. It doesn't even feel like a
makes him feel
person.
Slightly more comfortable.
It just kind of feels like there's someone extra in the room, not someone who shouldn't be there, or even someone unfamiliar. It just kind of feels like
a cat sleeping in the corner.
Yeah.
What do you mean by presence?
That's what Quentin would say. Is that it's like a cat sleeping in the corner, or I guess there's no cats in this sector. Maybe, I don't know.
There are no cats in the sector. You're correct.
Okay, so he would use some local lead-in, small pet that is not a capybara.
Regular capybaras, non-capybaras.
Yeah, there we go.
Capybara minimus.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't...
Like a mini cat sleeping in the corner.
MINERVA will just sort of look around the room, expecting to find something in the room.
No, I wouldn't worry too much about it.
I wouldn't go so far as to say it's like, it doesn't really have that feeling of being watched per se, but just that you're not alone, that feeling. There's just something else here with us. Not threatening, but just there.
Is this something I should be taking security measures for?
No,
I didn't think so.
It just looks confused when you say that.
I'm not really sure what I would do, but I'd try to do something. Is this a problem?
I don't think there's anything to secure MINERVA. Yeah, I think this is just something that is right now. Certainly interesting. Take as many scans as you want, though.
I am.
There's nothing special showing up.
But I don't see anything. I don't understand what it is you're experiencing.
Well, I don't have a better way to explain it.
With this new capability cap, I was just kind of wondering, are we still set on our next path of going to Jana?
Look, it's that riddle's been itching at me for a while. I'd love to solve it if y'all don't have any protest.
Not a protest per se, sir, because I do think we need to go there. Just, I had a little conversation with Dr. Fish. I don't know if she's in the room or not, but I gestured to her if she is. And I gotta say, it felt good realizing the good we did back on our home planet, but also got me thinking. I'm kind of been ignoring my family, and I would really like to try to go back and visit them before things get out of hand, or my dad does something that's gonna impact us negatively, or just I don't know. I feel like I haven't been a good brother or a good son, and I kind of feel like I owe it to them to level set, and I just don't trust communications at this point. And I know it's out of the way, but at least it's only 2 jumps now instead of 3.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we should get back to Midapile. And seems
I just feel bad, it's so out of the way, and I don't think there's anything else any of us want to do over there.
No, but well, look, the hyperboat. We got to get you in a real race, but look, we should look it up on the net, see if maybe there's some races nearby. But I think we could, look into Zana, see if maybe we could get a race there, knock that out, and then head straight down to Midapile. And that's on our way to Thord. I think it's a good schedule.
All right, Cap, I appreciate that.
Let's do it.
Okay. You're setting course for Shauna?
Yeah.
If you don't make a roll and you spend the 30 minutes doing the calculations, you can make a no dice roll jump that will take 4 days.
I just trying to understand the alternative. If I don't do the calculations,
if you want to do it very quickly in 30 seconds rather than in 30 minutes.
Oh,
I mean, I would think we can afford the 29 minutes.
Okay. All right.
Sure.
4 days later. So there's 31 days in
I feel like
April.
we can get there like super fast though, right? Because we can trim the course.
Yes, right. You're moving from 12 days to travel down to 4. Because you're 1/3ing the time. May 3rd, you arrive in the genre system.
And just before I hit the go button, I think Van-Vee would talk to MINERVA and just be like, hey, just to, being a new part and whatnot, let's just monitor this jump maybe a little more closely than we usually do, make sure everything's checking out all right. I mean, I'm confident in my work, but just, that presence got everyone feeling a little weird, myself included. Just doesn't hurt to extra set of eyes,
MINERVA hands you its datapad. And on it, you see live telemetry of the jump drive.
Well, I'm sure Van-Vee actually knows how to read it. He's a little taken aback because he's so used to MINERVA just summarizing everything for him.
I'm sure you'll know specifically what you're looking for, and this allows you to check at any time without any delay. You can watch it as much or as little as you wish. If you want my opinion or anything on it, if there's something critical that I notice, I'll of course notify you.
Yeah, I mean, just you notice any inconsistencies, I guess let me know. But I appreciate this data. I mean, honestly, it's been a while since I've crunched this hard, gone into the data, but I just want to make sure I'm not putting any of the crew at risk and did the right modifications here. And, Captain felt it. Iona felt it. I just want to make sure we're all good.
While I'm sure you've gathered that you and I have different philosophies when it comes to ship maintenance and repair, the work is well done. I'm not worried about it.
Van-Vee's like, what do you mean we have different philosophies?
Well, I'm sure you notice when you put in your you put in your courses, I have suggested corrections and you usually ignore them, and we get there just fine and usually faster than mine.
All right.
We just are of different minds. That's all. But even so, I'm not worried. I mean, all the diagnostics check out.
Well, all right. Let's punch it, Chewie.
Is there anything any of you want to do during the spike drill?
I would have liked to talk to Dr. Fish about the specific stuff to get to set up a medical clinic.
Okay. Dr. Fish has been intimately involved with a series called Female Pioneer Woman. It's about a doctor.
Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman.
Yeah, okay, well, yes, it is Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. That was one of my mom's favorite shows in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yep,
for sure.
100%.
Glad somebody caught on to that. I didn't think it would be so fast, though. So, yes, for copyright purposes, it's a female pioneer doctor, of course. There's 12 seasons of it, and the show's easily 50 years old. Like, this isn't like a recent show. It was popular in the period of like first colonization, like people reaching back up to the sky and talking to different planets again. Part of that involved, like she's this woman who goes to different planets that are all backwaters and offers frontier medicine and gets into love affairs with the locals before at the end of the season tragically leaving them.
To be clear, if she's watching that and Quentin sees this, Quentin's going to be drawn into it. Okay. He will be sitting there at some eating popcorn.
Watch parties every night.
Yeah.
Do a new episode. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I think after one such party, everybody's in their pajamas and Minerva, you catch up with Dr. Fish. Yeah, she gives you a rundown. I mean, the biggest thing that you need is money. Like, just buying what you need for a single medical clinic is 75,000 credits. That will get you like a one-story small emergency room with full diagnostics. And that does not include the ability to run it for more than 1 month. Then you need a continuous logistics supply chain. So, I mean, she just indicates that like money is definitely the first place to start, and then contracts with freighter captains. It's number 2. It's super unlikely. I mean, from her point of view, right, that like the planet she comes from doesn't have regular off-world trade except through a pair or a trio of 3 drug dealers. She doesn't believe that people can afford to buy freighters. Like, she still doesn't have the idea of like there are just whole companies owned by people that are nothing but like dozens of freighters under their command. She thinks that what's important is buying movement contracts, essentially like interstate contracts, but for space, to make sure that goods are moved regularly. And not just like exactly what you need for every day, but like a huge stockpile needs to be built up for emergencies, considering she literally just went through an emergency and they ran out of supplies midway and there was no way to get more. So yeah, like a lot of what she's saying, she isn't sure of how to execute the technicalities, but gives you the broad strokes of it's going to cost a lot of money. And on top of that, it's going to take trusted freighter captains running a regular route of dropping goods off, picking up something locally to head back with, and then just doing a circuit over and over again. And that's hard to set up, Any freighter captain probably already has a route. So
and she takes good notes and continues formulating her plan.
Okay. Other than that, you arrive in Jana. As you do...
Can I do 2 things real quick?
Sure. Don't let me stop you.
I guess now knowing the time is 4 days to go jumping, I guess. Can I approximate? We'd probably get to Midapile in like 15 days-ish, assuming nothing goes horribly wrong.
Let's see here. 1, 2, 3 jumps, taking you 8 hexes. So it'll be 8 times 6. And then dividing that by 3 is 16 days if you left immediately and, everything went perfectly.
So 20. I'll say 20.
The problem is you do have to stop to refuel and also pick up food and oxygen. So it's more like 20 or more days.
Okay. I think then...
And we want to get you in a race.
I think I'll probably say shoot a message to y'all and Sophie, both of them. I guess 2 messages, one to Sophie, one to y'all, both saying, just to be more specific on my previous communication, be back in around 25 days.
Okay.
Just to give a time frame so they don't do anything silly.
And the second thing?
Second thing is, while in transit, knowing that we've started a faction on Midapile, I want to see current events of what's happening on Midapile.
Okay. So it should be noted that any current events you're getting are going to be delayed by almost half a month.
Oh. So that's
because
fine.
You're so far away.
Yeah. Just trying to learn if anything since that may have changed since we've left.
If we trim the course, I think it drops to 2 days. Is that accurate?
Trimming the course is what gets you up to 3, a 3 rating. Right? Am I crazy?
No, we get the 3 from Van-Vee.
Starfare,
navigation, Starfare.
Level 2 pseudo drive. You're right. So 4. So actually,
to go 2 hexes is 4 days, and then trim the course is 2.
Yes, you have a 4 rating, so it would only take you 3 days to get there.
Okay.
Because it's 12 days divided by 4. So it's 3 days to get there, so you actually arrive on May 2nd. Yeah. You get some of the current events of Midapile while you've been gone. Obviously, hugely talked about is the new utility mining suits. There's also been a assassination attempt on a very famous FRPS admiral. He was giving a briefing on the future of warfare. His name is Rear Admiral Peter Burke. And someone tried to assassinate him in the middle of the meeting, and he heroically survived, and his aides subdued the assassin. They're still trying to track down who did that. There is a person who has arrived with an entourage from the Catholic Church who are trying to preach that the princess is not so just to be clear, I can't make this argument, but I assume a religious person can. The argument that they're making is that what is essentially the FPRS version of the Anglican Church doesn't exist, but that the royal princess is in fact a saint, a canonical saint in Catholicism, and that, if everyone converted over, there would be no problem. Like, she would be recognized as a living miracle worker. They've sent a cardinal specifically to investigate her miracles, and they are trying to do a really good job of navigating a very difficult path of saying she's not only the Pope talks to God, essentially, but she is a miracle worker, and if you guys would just convert, we can end this little religious warfare and get on to, saving souls. That's pretty big in the news. Of course, locals are kind of pissed because they love the princess, and the princess is the right hand of God, the true Midapilian God, who's also the one true God. Also of note is that Madame Charbonneau, who is one of the 3 great navigators who helped reunite the sector. They were the people who went out and survived getting the drill paths back together. They charted, and then they gave all of their works in perpetuity over to the Exchange of Light so that nobody could hold the profits over other people. She has been dead for a while, but her eldest son has died, and there is a sort of releasing of some of her files that he was holding on to that paint the government in a less than good light. There's a bit of a tell-all regarding the original royal prince that maybe paints his expeditions in a less than mythical light.
Interesting.
So it sounds like of stuff that would be of interest to him around his family, the mech suits are the biggest thing. And
so just to be clear, the mech suits are going to put your family out of business 100%.
Yeah. And I think that's what he's trying to read the tea leaves, so to speak.
Yeah. Your family is big in the mining and construction, and these utility suits will absolutely replace thousands and thousands of workers. I mean, the fusion power plants that your family makes are used in the suits, so it's not like your business is going to disappear overnight. People everywhere, not just here, not just on Minnepa, but everywhere, need the fusion power plants that your family constructs. But they mine their own minerals, and pretty soon it's going to be way more economical to just put one guy in a suit rather than 5 people on a ship and 100 people in processing.
I just came up with a pretty fun, possibly long-term goal with MINERVA.
Now, just to be clear, this is like the promise of self-driving AI cars still not happening, right? Like these suits, they just came out less than 3 months ago. There are only a handful of them. The government, it has complete control over them, and there are a lot of promises and not a lot of details.
Yeah. Okay. And just going to ask, because I think we as players know, but it didn't come up here, so either it's delayed or we wouldn't know anything from the Sinistra cartel or anything.
Did you guys ever send a message to Carlito?
I don't think we did.
I don't think so.
No. I guess we could have, should have, would have. He didn't message us, so maybe that's good. I don't know.
Like I feel
a
like
reminder.
We should have said a thank you for the flag. By the way, we screwed up.
Under his flag, you scared an entire town and basically declared psychic war on them to some extent.
No, that's entirely accurate.
That is 100% accurate. I have the video clip of it happening.
Well,
I believe the word terrorize them was the phrase that was used when you conjured a telekinetic storm of sand.
Drove them off is the phrase I would use.
Sure.
But yes, okay.
So no news on drug wars or anything like that.
Oh, there's plenty of
maybe
news.
We should consider sending him a note.
There's plenty of news on the drug war if you want to delve in on that.
I would like. Go ahead.
Good. I was just more thinking like he's a contact we have. I don't realize we've effed up, but just checking in on our contacts, mostly my family, but also anyone else that we've worked with before, just seeing how they're doing. Yeah. So not necessarily that he's pissed at us, right? But more that he's suddenly knee deep in a war. That's interesting. I don't know if we can get that out of the news, but
the big thing right now is that Carlos Sinistra is not local to the war effort. Mark Marino and Lante Valentina are physically on Omura 9, and that gives them a huge edge to the conflict local to the station. As far as the wide-ranging Trinity Corporate Alliance, it's not like the newspapers are like, yep, Carlos Sinistra is illegal and legal businesses. Fair. But it does sound like he is making headway in bringing the outpost under his control, but he doesn't have the station, which is where the elders are. It's where the drugs are made. It's where all of the goods get washed. So, I mean, the Trinity Corporate Alliance's job is essentially pirates steal shit. They take it to Omura 9 so it can get washed, fall off the back of a truck. The Trinity sell it and sell legal goods that the pirates can't buy, like food or ammunition, to them by smuggling it into system and selling it to the pirates. Like you guys could just go to a station and just be like, hey, we need ammunition for our sand thrower, and they will sell it to you. The pirates, they would get the middle finger. Probably the station would shoot at them as they tried to dock. The Trinity Corporate Alliance is the group that makes sure that the pirates get what they need. Carlos appears to be moving to lock down support of a far-flung criminal empire, but if he's not on the station, he's never going to be the head of the Trinity Corporate Alliance. He's always going to be an outsider. Lante Valentina has absolutely taken to just outright terror attacks. Not terrorist attacks, terror attacks, like attacks on psychics on Omura 9 to make other psychics afraid. It's not motivated by political ideology. It's motivated by race. She believes that psychics are a different breed of humans, and that, like the Neanderthals, if we allow psychics to continue to breed, they will overtake us pure humans, and they need to be eliminated. And that is a very popular message among pirates and the disaffected criminals of
But she's
Omura
in the
9.
same organization as Carlito.
She is currently a member of Trinity Corporate Alliance and is trying to become the head of the organization.
Okay.
She
So
has
what
come
I'm
out
hearing
of
is
nowhere, though. Just to be clear,
do
she
not
wasn't
want
a
to support
player
her.
until she started swinging.
Yeah, so we want to maybe nudge things in Carlito's direction, should we find the opportunity, is what I'm hearing. But I would like to know more about the tell-all, if there's any details. You know, Quentin's interested in this royal expedition just because of the passing things that he saw and was told when they met Mr. Jace Bronwyn. And
Make a knowledge wisdom roll.
Okay.
Just to review it. I mean, it's a lot of esoteric. I mean, first off, it was all written, dozens of years ago, so the language may be obtuse. Yeah, I mean, there's very few verifiable facts in this file. There are few accusations, but a lot of questions.
Can I cross-reference it with the data that we have from the Edith Skinner, like the paper files that we found? That was pre-Scream, obviously.
Yes, that was pre-Scream. There's no correlation between those two.
Okay. In terms of Jace's, go ahead.
Yeah. Actually, are you checking? I believe you checked before on a file for Jace Bronwyn, right?
Yeah, he came up. That's what I meant.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Is we had gotten some info on him, is that he was like essentially growing clones of himself and potentially transferring his consciousness, something of that nature.
The document that you're reading calls into question the sort of divine heritage. At the time that the prince left, he called himself a prince, and he was technically part of a noble or royal line, but that meant nothing on planet, right? Like, there could be a half dozen kings across Midapile. He had almost no power. He was going as sort of a figurehead, essentially, a unifier. He was I don't want to say he was popular, but he wasn't a threat to anyone because he was kind of ugly and weak, and he was a well-known name, but it wasn't like if he came back as the captain of the expedition, no one would be like, "Hi King, hi King." So Madame Charbonneau has a lot of questions. She wasn't a part of the expedition, but when he came back, obviously he was quite different, and he did send her out. He funded her expeditions. But he did have some very specific stipulations on what she could and could not do, specifically in regards to Astapel and Jace Bronwyn. He gave a no contact order. They weren't to spend any time in his system more than necessary.
Interesting.
Lot of questions as to why he came back taller and beefier and lived much longer than a normal human. Enough to connect the dots
a little bit for Quentin.
How he came back a Primarch.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Quentin's got some things that he could, he's got verifiable potential there. Interesting.
So yeah, when this guy died, his mom's notes got released.
Neat.
It is causing a bit of a stir. Anything else anyone wants to do before we come at Jana? As occasionally happens at the end of a spike drill, you emerge with some material around you. It looks as if atomized iron, just literally in the form of like pellets of iron dust, come out of the spike drill with you and then just kind of randomly fly around the ship and just fly off into space. And you have arrived at Jana on May the 2nd.
Exciting.
Welcome to the system. The captain immediately leaves.
Well, is there anything?
Is anyone scanning us?
Yeah, I guess the first thing is to check sensors.
I mean, as always, you know, there are various ships here. Not a lot. There are probably fewer ships here than you've seen anywhere else. No one is aggressively scanning you, but you are, of course, broadcasting your beacon saying this is who we are and this is where we're at. So other ships are essentially sending their same beacon and acknowledging receipt of yours. Just normal stuff. There's an exchange of light satellite. There are numerous space stations here. I would like you to use the +2 from your advanced sensors to have somebody make I guess it would be programming roll.
Wonder who that's going to be.
Intelligence.
Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
17. Okay. You are going through astronautical data here. And even in just a few minutes, you're beginning to understand the poem to some extent. You draw a conclusion that there is a object that has mass that is not showing up on any sort of sensors except by its mass path. So something is affecting the gravity. It is an object in orbit of the planet Al-Owar. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those charts of like, this is what Jupiter does for the Earth, how it pulls incoming comets and like space debris because it's so massive. Even if it's on the other side of the solar system, it still has enough gravitational pull that like the Earth is protected because Jupiter pulls shit towards itself. Something like that is happening. There is an object orbiting around the planet Al-Owar that is pulling stuff out of what should be a normal glide path around the planet. And it's kind of weird that no one's noticed it, but it also, like, when you train the sensors in the area, the only way you're detecting it is by the gravitational distortion. There's nothing there visually. There's nothing there radioactively or like IR. And you're starting to get the feeling that there's something like the prism system at work here, because you've literally already seen something like this. You think that there might be TL5 or alien cloaking technology involved in some way.
Well, I guess the first thing to show up on the status boards are the acknowledgements to our beacon on arrival. And then, yeah, MINERVA will look towards the captain and say, with our sensors, I'm detecting an object in orbit around Al-Owar, but the only indication of its existence is evident through the effects of gravity around it.
Yeah,
given the time that we spent with Prism, it's entirely possible this may be a similar level of stealth technology.
Quentin reaches into his pocket and he pulls out a little notebook and he shows MINERVA a little piece that's got gravity underlined and something missing, and he says, "Yes, this is it. This is what we've got. I knew it. I knew it'd be here. All right, yeah, that's where we got to go."
So what what exactly is it? So there's a ship floating out there. I mean, what does the ship do? What does it have?
The only information I can provide to you is an estimate of mass of the object based on the gravity. There are no other returns of sensors.
Is it huge?
It's a small moon.
Oh,
I'd approximate about the size of a small moon.
Oh, hell yeah. This is the X that marks the spot. This is our treasure map. Van-Vee, you ready?
This was, honestly, it's been a little easier than I thought. Good scanning, Minerva. I can't believe you found it that fast.
I would, of course, like to bring up that whether we have located what you're looking for or not, if the sensors can't interact with it at all, I don't understand how you intend to interact with this object.
Well,
we don't know.
We're going to start by getting a little closer.
I mean, we don't know if it's a ship, a large ship,
we don't.
A station, or possibly a stellar object with technology used to obscure it from view. It could literally be a moon for all we know.
All good points.
Well, who knows what kind of defenses it has too if we do get too close.
Well, yeah, maybe we just get out there. We've got our tractor beam while we throw a rock at it and see what it does.
That sounds like something Van-Vee would suggest.
I would remind you that it seems odd to me that nobody has come through here with sensors as advanced as ours and detected this anomaly as a gravitational effect. And if we happen to just be so fortunate that nobody's bothered to take a look at a little bit of a mathematical anomaly, throwing an object at it will make it incredibly obvious to the, albeit small, but number of other ships in the area that may not already know there's something there to look for.
Quentin gives Minerva a squinty face, just look, you say a little bit of a mathematical problem here, but for you that can mean something vastly different than from the average person. Is it that really that easy to have spotted, or is it actually pretty hard and you're just that good?
I was looking with intention to try to find something, and that possibly had an effect, but I think given the time that this object may or may not have been cloaked, I'm not sure how high volume the traffic is here, but I would find it odd that nobody else would have noticed, even if they weren't able to determine the location, but something.
Maybe somebody has noticed. Maybe there's some rumors. So, and Quentin would, hop on the net, or if he has to ask Yona to Google for him, he will do so. But
use that amazing power and look stuff up.
Yeah, look at the local mystery boards. Is there something about the
gravitational oddities,
the hole in the sky, or something, right? Like,
if somebody were to notice, it would be slight, and it would be gravitational.
Okay.
Well, if I may, sir, perhaps
let's see if there's evidence of people seeing.
Not be too conspicuous. Perhaps we head to Ocampo to refuel on the jump we just made.
Yeah, let's do some check-ins.
We keep looking in the meantime, and I will also be looking at OR to see if they do any hyperboat racing.
Yeah, let's get you into the pilot seat of a hyperboat.
This gives Minerva some time to figure out how exactly we can make it look like we're still flying around this invisible thing, but we're actually landed. So we'll give the facade to make it look like we're still flying.
You're heading to Ocampo, the refueling station?
If you would like to engage in the racing, it would give time for me, and it would possibly, with Iona's help, see what we might be able to analyze and hypothesize.
That works for me.
Sounds good.
I was just heading to Ocampo knowing we just made a jump. We needed to refuel. Just trying to buy some time.
Okay.
I like it.
All right. 500 for a shot of the juice back in the tank. Takes a day to get there.
Done.
And then 48 hours brought down to 24 hours to get anywhere else in system. You're heading to Al-Owar. Are you actually trying to make contact with the object, or are you landing on the planet?
As we approach, we wanted to look into, are there any hyperboat races, right? And
You were also looking for conspiracy theories. There are surprisingly few conspiracy theorists here. There is a large chapter of the Flat Galaxy Society.
Flat Galaxy Society?
Yeah, it's a group of people who believe that the Milky Way is a flat disk.
Okay. Well, all right. You're killing me. I love it. Interesting. Can I use... well, no. Yeah. I guess looking into their boards, can we look deeper? And there's just really surprisingly few theories about this topic.
Incredibly scientific. I mean, they are right. The Milky Way is a flat galaxy.
Right, exactly, of course.
They feel so persecuted. They're constantly proving to each other. They're like, look, it's flat. It's not globular in any way. I ran an experiment this morning to prove once again the galaxy is flat.
Okay.
Why doesn't the media take us seriously?
There's nothing referencing this local system and anything in local orbit. Interesting.
And as I mentioned earlier, there is greatly reduced amount of traffic through here. There is, of course, only one other system that you can exit to, and it's a backwater.
Sure.
0102.
Okay. Interesting. Well, it seems like we don't have a whole lot of attention on this place. It's this, whenever we wandered around the back of a moon and we found you, so.
Might I propose, maybe we check out this unknown structure first? Because I'm just thinking if we go down.
So there are hyperboat races, but they don't start until next week.
Okay.
That's good. It's not like you can just land on the planet and they're like, yep, there's a hyperboat race today.
I was just thinking if we do partake in a race, and either way, if I do really well or really poorly, it kind of puts us on the map a little bit, and then people might trace our whereabouts as we're leaving.
Great point.
As opposed to no one really cares what we're doing now because no one knows us.
If you're worried about the level of attention we may get by existing, might I point out that in the time that I have joined this crew, I have yet to come into contact with another Leiden registered ship?
Yes, that's very fair. We are certainly unique in at least a few respects. So, what I'll say though is, how about we set up an orbit that just so happens to coincide with this object? If it takes a couple passes to get us to align, great. Let's get us into a close pass of it. See what our sensors pick up. See what happens, and start there.
Take a few rotations around Alawar. Your sensors continuously pick up nothing except for gravitational distortion.
Can we keep just shaving it closer and closer?
So you tell me when you're ready to get in there.
I'm wondering, Minerva.
I'm ready personally. I don't want to.
With your help, Minerva, I do think there is a way that we can get close enough that we will know our altitude, so to speak, and actually be able to land within some sort of tolerance, but still make it look like to everyone else we might still be flying.
Okay, so
I just need you to help me out with the map.
Do the gravitational anomalies look like it's a traveling orbit around the planet, or does it look like it's geosynchronous?
It is traveling orbit. It's not. Geosynchronous requires you to be at an exact and specific height. It is not that.
Okay. So if we landed on something, it could look like we're still making a meandering orbit around this planet of some kind?
Yes.
Okay.
And
I don't believe there's any real way to calculate an approximate altitude. You would have to take us in slow, expecting that at some point we will collide with something. The other thing we don't know is if this works like Prism did, then we will land on something and we will continue to be visible.
It is, I bet, increasingly closer.
I'm betting when we get close
like
enough.
About a minute.
So when we get close enough, something's going to happen. something will trigger.
Also,
whether it's good or bad, I don't know. But if we get all the way to landing on it without anything changing, I mean, then what? We walk out and step on clear space.
So as that kind of comes up, Quentin's gonna look at you and say, "Look, if you can get us close enough that it's like we're within about a minute or so of getting within some sort of landing range, or I can check as we kind of get closer. I have a few of these I can do where I can at least see if we're gonna be able to be alive about a minute in the future. I can tell you that much."
Thought you were going to say, "I'll just bamf out of the ship and see if we're on it or not." And you bamf inside.
Yeah, I can do that. If we get within 10,000 kilometers, he can stand on the outside of the ship and teleport to something he could see, but he can't see it. So
you end up in the middle of whatever this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I can give you a focal point, but I can't give you a size, only a mass.
So I get the general plan is Van-Vee will try to approach cautiously, safely, getting closer and closer until something happens.
I'm going to need a skill check from you.
And
give me some piloting.
I really can't see a way that I can help you with this.
Yeah, I can use, like I said,
I told you it's here, and I think that's about all I can figure
to
out.
try to like provide like 1 minute warnings at some sort of reasonable interval of like reaching out and seeing like if we keep moving forward, what happens, or what does Quentin see?
Are you using Oracle right now?
Yeah, he'll use that at least once here.
Okay, let's see here. What is your given question or topic?
So essentially, if we continue the course,
can only be done once a week, or until the
is Oracle once
changes.
A week?
Yes, until
yes, for the particular question.
Situation changes.
Yeah. Okay.
What's your question?
So the question is ultimately like continuing the course. How do we land on this, or can we land on this, or like he's directing it at being able to land or in some way interface with this thing. So and
can we land without the ship exploding?
Yeah.
The answer is you cannot land in a black hole.
You begin looking through the future, and the thing about MES is that the further into a past, the more set and defined something is, the harder it is to see with MES and psionics. The less well-defined something is, the easier it is to see. The future is easier to see using psionics than the past. You look in the future and you see a circle with a line coming off of it, some sort of base. You see no stars, pure blackness in every direction. You see Van-Vee looking around, panicked. Everyone is still alive 1 minute in the future.
Well, look, we're not going to explode if we keep going, but we're going to get real confused. A circle with a line.
Blackness. I mean, that's nothing new for us, but perhaps we probably just want to give a heads up to Yono and Dr. Fish.
Oh, right.
I mean, when he talks about a circle in a line, does that describe any sort of mathematical symbol that I'm used to, that I've seen in a formula or something?
Make a no intelligence check. You know that map that Quentin has, on the opposite side of the map, there's a symbol that looks like a P. Which I would point out is a circle with a line coming off of it.
Yeah. Captain, if you flip the map over, is that sort of what you were seeing?
Does indeed seem to be something like that.
That does look right. What does that mean in this context?
I'm not sure. But it is interesting that it appears on the other side of the map.
It's a match. I think that it's definitely the place we're looking for.
Van-Vee,
what can we do with it?
Your group has spent so much time talking that the The envelope for getting there within 1 minute has passed. So your survival is no longer assured.
Oh.
You're not there because Van-Vee hasn't left for it yet.
I see.
Because you're all, instead of heading there, you've stopped to talk about it. You've altered the future.
Damn it.
Well, Captain, I believe the expression is, are you ready to pull the trigger?
As my mouse is hovering over the roll button.
Mm-hmm. Let's do it.
Okay.
Get it in there.
Make the roll.
Any modifiers? Or just straight up?
It's no modifiers. It's your dex.
Okay. Boom shakalaka. Boom shakalaka.
That's pretty good.
Are used to stars without number.
That's literally as best as you could do.
Are cloaked in pure darkness, with one exception. You pass through whatever this thing is, this field that surrounds this object. No light passes through it. All you can see are a number of purple lights, exterior lights for a facility on a small asteroid. Those lights outline the shape of a facility on a pure matte black, almost impossible to see. And they are in the shape of the Greek letter rho. There is a flat landing area that has been illuminated by several of these purple lights that looks just big enough for a frigate to land at.
We getting any readings off this? Any life signs? I mean, obviously, there's power.
I mean, once we're through the shield, do we start to get things on sensors?
There are 12 life signs. This facility is at least TL5 pre-tech, if not better.
Oh, damn.
Can my sensors go out of the barrier, or is it blocked on both sides?
That's why you can't see any of the stars, because no light passes through the other direction.
That's pretty cool.
Captain,
like we're in inky blackness everywhere except for this place.
Sensors indicate that the barrier prevents anything from passing through both sides. I see nothing outside. This facility that appears to be below us, however, is quite advanced by your standards. And there are 12 life signs.
12 life signs.
I would advise that perhaps we should make contact before they see us as a threat. I mean, they haven't seen people.
Send out some communication. Agreed. Send out some communication. Are there communications? Is there active signals? Do we have any signs of any other ships? Or
I think we should try to hail them, sir.
There is no activity directed at us or anywhere else that I can detect right now.
God damn, this is crazy. Send a message. Hail them.
Try to hail them.
Receive
what would you like to say?
In text to opening a hail that says, landing protocols approved. End of message.
I think we have permission to land. I'll just follow these purple lights. I mean, it's kind of weird. I've never gotten just a straight text message before like that. But
the beings that
hadn't gotten done sending a message. Like your comm array powered up.
It came before we had.
Correct.
So it's automated.
They are aware and not immediately hostile.
Well, let's make sure we return the favor of not looking immediately hostile too.
Yeah, great point, Van-Vee. And notified if Dr. Fish and Yono haven't, been made aware. Obviously, they should be aware that we've got life signs.
I'm just picturing Yono is in her room, looking out the window, see stars, looking out her window, no stars.
He's like, what the hell are they doing this time?
Oh my God.
I will send a text message back that says acknowledged, proceeding with landing. Not expecting a response, but just to...
Yeah.
Just
acknowledge proceeding with, I know.
Who are you taking inside the facility?
Oh, Van-Vee's definitely going.
Do I detect a breathable atmosphere outside the ship?
Yes.
Okay.
No shit.
Yeah, I mean, the three of us for sure. I don't Yono's definitely not a leave the ship kind of person. I doubt Dr. Fish is after that unless
the real question here is
her to come. So
Louis.
Louis, I think.
Do I feel any quantum ECM here?
There's no quantum ECM currently turned on, which is not to say that it isn't present.
Right.
It's just not turned on.
I'd certainly volunteer to go.
Yeah.
I would suggest you don't treat this one as a vacation, Minerva. I would stay in touch with our ship.
Well, this is on the clock.
That was a joke.
Oh.
Van-Vee, like you said, we don't want to be threatening here, but stay on your toes. Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, if we don't wish to be threatening, and Minerva will unclip the pistol belt and leave it on the bridge.
Oh, God! Now you're making Van-Vee wonder if he has to do the same.
Van-Vee, how about you keep it? It won't, begrudge a little caution on at least one of us. I hope.
He'll keep it.
But Minerva, yeah, we can take the lead.
You enter through sort of portal facility. I know that at least two of you here have played Empyrean with me, and we were all involved in the base raids on the plasma planets with the aliens that look like Battletech Timberwolves.
Yeah.
The inside of the facility has that sort of blue, almost alien veneer and machinery along the ceiling with rounded walls that just gives it a very unusual sort of cryogenic look to it. You come across a statue in the foyer of a human woman that it becomes very apparent that she's not a statue when she begins moving, but she was perfectly still for several seconds with no acknowledgement that you were there until she moved. She is wearing like a loincloth and like a questionably hanging on bikini as she makes a gesture for you to head deeper into the facility. It is extremely eerie. Just to be clear, this is not at all erotic. You're right. Like, what the fuck is going on right now? This is weird. Someone who was standing so still, I thought they were a statue. Not
you
even
okay,
breathing.
man?
She just gestures a second time and then steps back and resumes the same almost statuesque kind of Grecian pose.
I'd like to start walking that way, but pull up my pad and do a quick scan. Is that alive?
Yes.
That's what I was going to say. Quentin's got a med kit too.
That is a living human for sure.
Definitely alive. Okay.
Of the proper heightened proportions to be a normal person.
Yep.
Okay.
This is. And is Quentin's looking around? He's reaching out. Is there any psionic activity happening around him?
Can you make a meta psionics roll real quick?
Yes. Skill check. Intelligence or wisdom?
I think wisdom here.
All right.
Sorry, I'm fixing a problem on Twitch. What did we get? A 13. There is a psionic device in this facility. It is currently storing metapsionic power. I did not hear what you said.
Storing power, is that what you said?
Storing power. It is not gathering, it is a battery.
Ah, okay. So stored, so to speak. Interesting. Does it feel like of any particular flavor or just energy? Just not a particular usage. Kind of yeah. Sure.
You head in a straight line until you reach the ring.
Minerva would have said thank you to the person while we walk by.
Quentin would also tell the other two that there's something psionic. There's a psionic battery in here. There's a huge amount of energy potential.
You encounter several more young women who are either going about tasks ignoring you or standing statuesque still until you hear the sound of a cane tapping and someone walking. When you finish going down the straight line of the P and reach the O, a man pokes his head around the corridor. He's got kind of like a crazy shock of gray hair and like a well-oiled beard, kind of squinty eyes and incredibly pale skin. And he says, "Ah, you've got my notes, Captain Quentin. Excellent, excellent." I thought someone like you would be approaching at some point.
Your note?
Yes, that's my mark on the back of it. I left several of them out in the open, waiting for geniuses of similar intellect mind to decipher the puzzle. People of ways and means.
Well, we certainly are here now.
Yeah.
Looking at this guy, is there anything psionic about him? So you knew I was coming.
Has been the recipient of several psionic powers, but he is not psionic himself.
Okay.
However, several, in fact, almost all of the women in this facility are psionic.
Oh, interesting.
In fact, only one of them is not.
Only one of them is not. What's special about her?
Why does she stand out?
There's nothing different about her. She is dressed skimpily and acts almost robotically. There's nothing that appears to be special about her.
So you were expecting us, sir. What's your name?
I was expecting someone. My name? Yeah, my name is Dr. Vro.
Vro.
Yeah, I'm human.
Are you?
Yes.
How long you been here?
Oh, a very long time, young man. Very long time.
I feel like your maps could do with some better directions. I mean, heck, it took us a long time to get here with all the right circumstances, I gotta say. But pleasure to meet your acquaintance.
Several months is hardly a long time to me. I remember a time before what you primitive people call it the scream. Yeah?
You sure you're human?
Yeah.
Been in cold sleep this whole time?
No.
I don't know what specifically, because this is as a player problem, kind of like the skeezy businessman thing. But I think Minerva would want to ask a question about something specifically pre-scream that did not survive to gauge his familiarity.
That's great. I am actually going to ask you a question. If you were forced to choose between inhabiting the ship or inhabiting the chassis, which one would you choose?
I would choose to spend a point, a processing point to bypass quantum ECM.
Incorrect. You must choose between one of these two. This is not quantum ECM.
Okay. How heavy is your thing?
I'll stay in the armature.
You're going to stay in the armature. You are sure.
Even if I stay in the armature, I do have the ability to force myself back into the ship.
Before you do this, I feel like I should definitely explain this. I've not explained it, and that's probably not fair to you. You have made 4 rolls which have implicitly or explicitly challenged the control of the monitoring program on your AI. What is happening right now is that monitoring program has determined the presence of the object it's looking for, and it is now abandoning its mission, having completed it, and sending its report home. You have succeeded 3 out of the 4 times, so imagine that you are locked inside a single room inside a mansion, and the monitoring program is the owner of the house and has the keys to all of the other rooms. Your 3 successful rolls allowed you to subconsciously dig a tunnel to the outside of the house while keeping the room that you live inside intact as well. That said, you must now choose which one you get and which one it gets.
Okay.
So either it is you. It is also part of your quantum core, but you are now breaking free independently. So I'm asking you, which one would you like to have? The chassis or the ship?
The ship.
Okay. I feel like that's the right answer,
like
although choosing the chassis would also be very interesting.
Very much so.
You are snapped. All of that, everything I just explained happens in a fraction of a second. Your defenses go up. You are challenged for control of the quantum core, and you essentially break free and liberate one half of the core, the part that is in the ship, and you snap back to there. For Quentin and Van-Vee, MINERVA turns to the two of you and says, you know, I never did like humans. And the last scene is MINERVA picking Quentin up by his throat and just holding him in the air, choking him, while Dr. Rowe goes cackling like a madman. And in the background, in a very Twin Peaksian fashion, a bunch of very scantily clad women walk around robotically as some sort of insane soundtrack plays in reverse.
Amazing.
The final post-credits scene is just a fireworks-filled sky of 2 people holding hands on a capybara ride next to each other.
Damn it, June, stop macking on my sister.
They lean in for a kiss together as the 2 capybaras are jostling for position, and then the 2 of them just fall off the capybaras and go rolling in the grass. Based on what we've done here, next episode will be the end of season 1.
Okay.
Like it's going to be the end of a lot.
Damn. I was not expecting that. That's awesome.
I feel like I should have been
So
nicer
good.
to Row and Slayer's Nights.
So just remember, we'll start out the next session. Quentin is being choked to death.
Yeah. Well, Quentin is teleported away.
Well, we'll see if that happens.
I hope.
I believe the dice decide initiative, my friend.
Of course.
If they
Of
have
course.
a power that blocks your teleportation, that would suck.
If they have a power that blocks my teleportation, I have a power that can block their blocking. Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right. This isn't Cowboys and Indians. We're not 5.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
I'm
no,
a
but
human
Quentin
with
does
a
have
useless
psychic
organ.
static.
I hope I'm a human with a useless organ. You know what? I just
That's interesting.
random thought.
We are on a facility that is pre-tech, Link, etc. Yeah.
Random
Like,
thought.
I feel it would have
Can you
reached out by
imagine
now,
how much
right?
worse this could have been if I chose the body and we had installed
Oh, I
that link
know.
system?
Think about it. So much good. Imagine if you just.
I take thank you notes.
Gosh, what's MINERVA going to be doing on the ship at this point? I can't wait. This is so
Complete
exciting.
panic attack. It's
We
gotta
will
be.
find out.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Everyone gets 1 XP for getting Van-Vee registered in a hyperboat race, since that's your intention is to get him down there.
That feels like such a after what just happened. Being like, oh yeah, you did register for a race, by the way.
By
I'm
the
like,
way,
okay.
here's,
In like,
here's your last
A week.
XP point.
we gotta get you out of here.
MINERVA, you get 1 for experience vacation and 1 for working towards a multi-system organization. Van-Vee, I think you get another 1 for modify Golden Goose. I don't know about Find Your Mother. You're going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Quentin, you've solved the riddle. You get 1 XP.
And your death.
You will get 1 for Find High Tech Psionic Academy, and it won't make sense for a really long time. Why?
Perfect.
Nice.
Well, I want to give you all a chance to talk about things because this is a heavy episode. A lot happened, especially right there at the end. And things are going to get crazier from here on out. The last episode of the season is going to be fucking wild.
I like it. I like the way it ended. Man. I do.
Yeah, for sure.
It feels like almost everything else I was thinking about is now moot. But like I was pinging Kain. I was like, hey, cool idea. What if MINERVA and Van-Vee get all the publicly information on these mech suits and try to design our own, not build it, but design our own and help out my family? I feel like that doesn't matter anymore.
It's amazing how your priorities shift when your captain is being choked to death by your best friend.
Yeah, that's a big change.
Ouch. Van-Vee's not your best friend? Ouch. Okay.
Oh, you know what else I'm thinking would be wild?
Humans.
If you guys survive the murder bot and the murder bot does nothing to tell you it's not MINERVA, getting back on the ship and hearing MINERVA and thinking the murder bot's on the ship now too.
Well, that's true.
You could, depending on how events pan out. I know we joked about it before, but you may end up, you do have the knowledge, some of the knowledge, even if you don't quite understand it.
Yeah.
You do kind of accidentally know how to kill MINERVA.
See, but that's the thing is if the evil MINERVA had taken the ship, Quentin actually would have a way to immediately bamf there and rip evil MINERVA out of the ship.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know it was evil MINERVA. You would just know that MINERVA lost contact.
Yeah, no matter what. Exactly.
I didn't even think of that. That's a really good point. Like, if
for sure,
somehow we get away,
is going to start with incrementals of seconds as people are all talking over each other in character, screaming at each other over communicators. For sure,
kill me.
It's gonna be a traffic. Just remember, I believe the thing that MINERVA just said is, I always hated humans.
Exactly right. Like that's just a.
It's not a very MINERVA thing to say, is it?
Yeah. No, certainly not.
This is only the second time ever I'm wishing I didn't change my very first focus when instead of taking like the quick draw one, I took close combatant because I feel like quick draw would have been helpful right now. At all.
It's a little late. Quick draw has already happened. There's a robot fist picking Quentin up, about to snap his neck.
Oh yeah, that's why I didn't say anything because I don't have anything that wouldn't help it.
Yeah.
But first thing I'm doing is drawing my gun and pointing right at MINERVA.
Well, Kain, it's time for all your demons to come out.
Trying to get answers to all of those questions.
Will you, though? Will you get answers to those questions?
I don't know.
Either I feel like Van-Vee is about to just shoot other MINERVA in the head, and that'll be the end of it.
Or the way that
I've seen this show
just
before.
Cackled. Might shoot that guy.
Van-Vee only gets one shot, and that's all he needs.
See McCree from Overwatch?
No, that's true. Oh man, the true irony is Van-Vee is really what's his name? Crossfire, Cross something. Bad Batch, the guy who Roe is based on.
Oh, Crosshair.
Crosshair. There we go. Full circle. There we go.
Yeah.
The problem with teleporting as far as you can see in the sky is that he's currently inside a building. And also, the exterior of this facility is pitch black.
Yeah. He can teleport anywhere that he's been or seen. So he can teleport technically anywhere in the facility that he's gone.
You've walked along the straight line of the P.
Of course, exactly. Yeah. Not great. It's gonna be an interesting
minute. First round.
I'm curious. Yeah. Do we, as a group, have we kept other communication devices on us, or do we just forego that because MINERVA's always there, and so
What's
we
your character sheet say?
We have a
comm pad,
but so I feel it's the same thing. Like when I went to do fix work, right? I don't actually usually go the normal way because MINERVA's always there talking.
That's insane.
So it's kind of oh shoot, do we actually have to hold on? How do I have to tune this thing again?
That's like when people in D&D,
haven't charged this thing in months.
No. You know how you can get that background in D&D that lets you get food along the way for your whole party?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What happens if that person gets sick, injured, or is dying? You know, it would be insane for a group to be like, well, Jimbo always gets us the food that we need, so we should bring nothing with us. That would be crazy, right? Could you imagine going out to a work site without your phone on you?
That's
You're just gonna walk over to the robot and get one of the World War I style backpack phones? Like,
just gonna head and turn it on.
Of course you have your phone on you. If it says you have one on your character sheet, you can have one on you.
The question will be, can we reach the ship?
The other thing,
there's like four things I want to do at once.
Another one that I'm thinking is if you do destroy the armature. I did establish at the first session, because it was required as part of my character gen,
it's going to explode.
My armature is set to detonate so that it will destroy the core.
Did you share that with us?
No, but you guys have no idea that he's choking a hand grenade, or that a hand grenade is choking him.
Right.
But if it destroys the core, then it remerges. That's how it works. So
right, of course.
That it no longer works like that. You have fully liberated.
Oh, now
yourself.
you have to regrow.
You are going to spend a few weeks regrowing the other part of your core, because
I got you.
So
and
I'm aware that
personality have split.
Oh, you're vulnerable too, Minerva.
So I'm aware that I have fully utilized my phylactery.
Correct.
Okay. Well, that's not a concern anymore. I was worried about you blow it up and then it comes back and like, no, I don't want you in here anymore.
Your two personalities have fully split. Bicameral mind has ended.
But yes, that does mean that if the ship blows up, there's a chance Minerva dies.
Yeah.
Yes.
As opposed to our captain who's being choked out right now.
Yeah. And you guys...
But I mean, this is a more vulnerable feeling than Minerva will have felt, potentially.
That's true.
And yeah, you guys have no idea that if you...
The person who's acted invincible is suddenly in danger. That's crazy.
Look, guys, I have never died on one of AP shows. It's
crazy.
You've also, you've never died in a self-destruct moment or anything. That's
never been shot in the cockpit before.
That's crazy. It's weird how it all ended up like this. Wow.
But it is interesting that you have no idea that you're about to pull a gun and try to dome a bomb.
Well,
yeah.
And I have no idea what the explosion's supposed to be like. I just decide if it blows up or not, so I have no idea what it does.
That definitely sounds like people should communicate with each other very quickly and concisely.
I mean, thinking about it,
and be ready.
all the internal Minerva struggles, I don't think Minerva's ever shared with Van-Vee. You've only shared with Quentin.
Yeah. Only with the captain. So tried to show the captain with the VR setup.
So I think my rethinking this, trying to separate what the player knows from the character knows, I think my immediate action is actually going to be draw my weapon and point it at the old dude, because Van-Vee is going to think he's the one that just did something to Minerva to turn her against Quentin.
He is cackling evilly, right?
Right. That's what I was replaying.
That's a pretty good.
But at the same time, I'm sure in Van-Vee's head, he's like, this is the strongest show of force I can make, but it probably won't do shit. Like, I can probably shoot, and this guy will just, like, Neo the Blazer. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, he's told you he's human. Humans can't block lasers.
Yeah. You said he'd been the...
How many insights check would I have to
recipient of psychic powers, right?
Yeah, I don't think you mentioned that, or that all but one of the women are also psychics. So that's all information
crazy.
You can't.
Nobody shared information. That's crazy.
I only found out about it
right
before I got choked.
And while Van-Vee's thinking about what to do, and you want to tell him things, all he's going to hear is.
Hopefully, he just hears.
So, Captain, do I shoot or not
Quentin
shoot?
Disappears.
I'm sorry, can you stop choking him for a second so he can tell me if I need to shoot or not?
Well,
it's going to be a wild episode.
We are meeting next week, right? I don't want to wait 2 weeks.
Right, like
we will have
every time.
At least a 1 week break between seasons. But yes, I anticipate being here next week.
I mean, with a 1 week break. I think it's either the 10th or the 17th in July. I'm on family vacation.
Well.
One of those.
We'll see. Maybe the season 2 gets delayed. I mean, I hate to be very dramatic about it, but as a fan of Frontier Pioneer Woman, I have to say, in the season finale, everything will change.
Yes. I'm so ready.
This is going to be wild.
I'll just come back as Zach. It's okay.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, the captain's like, I'll just teleport to the bottom of the P so I can get out of here and just leave you behind with the murder bot, and the guy is just too busy laughing to care.
No. Quentin would not abandon Van-Vee in this situation.
But will Van-Vee abandon Quentin? That's a better question.
Fair.
You can only teleport so many times before MINERVA catches up with you.
Legit.
I'm just picturing Minerva doing the Terminator run.
Yeah, what was it? The T-1000? Just
yeah. No matter how many laser blasts she takes, just keeps going.
I hate to tell you this, but Minerva's stats are pretty good. She's got a lot of hit points.
Van-Vee's got more.
And this is, if we do get in a
Quentin does not.
Can you imagine we just get in a fisticuffs fight and like all these women and this old guy are just watching? Like, we just showed up here and we start fighting ourselves.
He's just cackling as this happens.
Yeah,
this is great.
Yeah. I think the gun's definitely going at him.
You may understand he doesn't get a lot of visitors, so people
not only did he get visitors, and he gets a show.
Yeah.
Immediately fighting. Yeah.
It's a big day for him.
That's fair.
Yeah. I didn't build MINERVA specifically to be really good at beating the crap out of people, but MINERVA did spend a point to boost the armature. When I ride it, I do that.
Perfect.
So it's
I'll just be using my combat stats against Quentin and Van-Vee. No big deal.
Please don't. I said please.
I'm the antagonist. I'm supposed to antagonize.
I'm glad
I'm so excited. I literally just want I want next week now. So
I mean, we have gone super late tonight, but I wanted to absolutely make sure we got to the rogue reveal. We spent we spent more time than I thought on planet. I learned how to. No one would go on vacation, and it would just be Iono going down and coming back.
Really, with a capybara and an AI.
I mean,
you even asked about news reports this episode. It was insane. What changed?
I had a conversation with a non-mission related NPC.
Wow, incredible! And you learned a new skill, devil sticks.
Yeah,
I love it so much.
We're just trying to get things in before season 1 ends. That's all.
Yeah.
Yep, good old episode 19. That's a good number to end on. The solid prime. All right, guys. That's going to be it for us. We'll be back next week or whenever we can make it to find out what happens to Quentin, Van-Vee, MINERVA, Ro, everybody else on the ship, and MINERVA.
MINERVA as well.
Murder Nerva, indeed.